Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. Happy Friday night, cocktail night. I hope I didn't confuse you too much with the change of times, the back and forth, the flippity flops. Happy Friday night, everybody. Happy gallery night, happy cocktail night. I'm currently being served my cup of cheer. I hope you have yours while we get logged on and set up. Thank you so much. I'm having red wine tonight, which I never do. I'm not a red wine person, but let's see how this goes. This one was magical green screen. This one actually had a cork in it. And yeah, I can tell because some of it is still in here. But cheers, my dears. Happy Friday. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are strapped in and ready for a great gallery night. Oh my word. What is that stuff? Why have I not been drinking this? This is excellent. Holy mackerel. I feel like Scrooge when he takes his drink, right, from the Ghost of Christmas Present, right, the Bacchus type character. And it's like, ooh, can I have some more? Ebenezer Scrooge, the sins of man are huge. Don't you love the musical version of Scrooge? I absolutely love it with Albert Finney. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop and run the show. All right, let's do this. So, I have to say first, do you notice the great snowfall behind me? It's so amazing having this green screen thing. It really is a lot of fun. Let's see who is on. And tonight, just to remind you, a continuation of our gallery night. We have so many buddies in the group now who do such fantastic work that we can't really do gallery night in a single night, one night per month anymore. It has grown larger than that, and the work is too good to rush through it. So many new buddies jumping in and sending stuff. Okay, it's hot in here. I'm doing it. Ooh, let me put the volume up. Hold on. Let me get myself. Whew, the heat's not on, is it? Is it hot in here or is this menopause? Here we go. All right, let me get the volume up. Let's see. All right, let's see. Pam, great to see you. Happy Friday night. My screen looks right. Doesn't it look right? There's nothing wrong, is there? It looks strange all of a sudden. I'm hoping there's nothing wrong. Okay. Tell me if anything's wrong. It's all blocky now for me, but I'm hoping it's working for you. Catherine, great to see you. Happy Friday, happy gallery night. What could be better? Honestly, what could be better? I just love these nights. And again, I'm so sorry that I changed the time a couple of times. I did plan on having it an hour later today because it's my son Teddy's birthday weekend, but he's been sick from school for the last couple of days, and tonight was the night he was going to go do this indoor ropes course, like this climbing thing with the zip lines, and he didn't want to go because he's not feeling well. So, can you check to see if the screen looks all right? Because it's all blocky for me. Is it blocky?
No,
okay.
it's good. It's dark.
So because he didn't want to do that, I thought, well, let's just run the show at the normal time so we're not super late birds. I hope that didn't screw anybody up. I tried to blast the news out on the YouTube platform, in the group, and everything. Oh, Catherine, what could be better? Well, it looks like you have milk and cookies. So my life could be better because I've got some great wine, but I do not have a snack. That could be better. And Cat's Gallery, it's a perfect time for gallery night from sunny, warm Southern California, you lucky duck. Pamela, me too, Catherine, except coffee with mine. Well, that sounds fantastic. Kirsten, great to see you. I haven't had a chance to leave you your message yet today. We normally leave each other messages throughout the day. It's just been, with Teddy at home, it's been just busy times. Really busy times. I've turned into like a valet, like a manservant to him. Just, what would you like now, Ted? Would you like another cookie, sir? What could I bring you? Is your temperature right? Would you like the fan blowing on your face? Would you like different socks on? These are all things that I've said in the last hour. My buddy Ann, great to see you in New Hampshire. You're still in New Hampshire. Gail, good morning in Australia. Great to see you. Happy coffee time for you. Linda B, cheers, my dears. Thank you. It's repeating it. I'm not going to be on with you the whole time because I'm realizing it might be annoying because it keeps repeating. But isn't the snow fun? Oh, I really like it. I hope we get some of the real stuff too. Andrea, you are up first today because I know that you are in the UK and it's very, very late there. Happy gallery night. You plucked up the courage to enter Peas Pottage into celebrations as you should. I'm so glad that you did. It is so. Wait till you all see it tonight. You were working on it before. I think we saw it partway through. Peas Pottage is the what are they like Tudor or like Renaissance? A couple of minstrels playing old songs in the style of very historic. She's on like a harpsichord or something, isn't she? And he's on something old, some old thing. But I'm sure they make beautiful music. It is a tremendous piece of art. This finished drug, you're going to see that in just a minute. Love the green screen. Good, good, good. Judy, great to see you. Yeah, the cup is good too, isn't it? It's one of these TJ Maxx jobs. They do such nice things. Oh, God, that's good. Linda, cheers, my dear. It's a beautiful sunny day there on the shore of Lake Ontario. Great to see you. Happy Friday. And Linda H., happy gallery night in Massachusetts. Great to see you too. Oh, Mom, you logged on. Good. Happy gallery night. So good. So good that you're there too. Um, I'm glad I brought that cup. Maggie, great to see you. Great to see you. Happy gallery night, my love. It was good talking to you last night too. And Catherine, Pamela, it's that cookie time of year. It sure is. Barbara, here for a bit from Holly, Michigan. Screen looks great. Well, you will see some great stuff, and then it'll be recorded for later, and it's always great to see you. Let me just catch up on comments, and then we're going to get going. Screen looks great. Okay, excellent. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm just loving this. I'm loving this. So let's get started. Let's get going because it's always hard to tell how much content we have, and we have some. We have a goodly amount of content. So let's come over here to our normal cam. And let's see now, Pam, you had Tommy do a better photo of this because remember we were looking at Pam's piece last week. We were looking at your new sort of realistic piece. Pam, remind me the name of the flowers that we saw in the last episode. I tidied up the screen, the slideshow. I should have shown the last one because the last, it's going to drive me crazy, the one with the thistles. That was the other one that you put in with this one, and we saw this one, but I said, can you see if Tommy can get an even better picture of it so that we can see it better? And he did, and you sent it, and we can see it a lot better because now we're becoming more familiar with you doing both really profound, important, artistic, sort of semi-realistic scenes like the two flower scenes we've seen so far, and you're also doing graphic work. And I love it when there are two roads running parallel because completely apples and oranges, isn't it? This is such a gorgeous piece. When you're good at doing one, you're typically good at doing the other, right? Isn't it always surprising but not surprising when we talk about artists, famous artists like Picasso or Dali, and we say, oh, they do so much of this one thing. Their work looks like this in my head. And then you do more research, you learn more about the artist, and you realize besides doing abstraction or really graphic design, they also are incredibly good artists, like fine artists. It's almost like they've laid the groundwork down, they've gotten the rules, now they're breaking the rules kind of a thing. It's always good to work in multiple styles because it really gets your creativity firing and it gives your brain a rest, right? Doing different kinds of work. I always find if I do two projects together back to back that are quite similar, it's a bit anticlimactic and I start to feel it's a bit repetitive. Maybe it's just me, but that's always how I feel. Oh, I did see there was a bunch more. Um, Oh, Mom, I know poor old Ted. He's not feeling great, but he's doing a little bit better. Shawnee, I'm so glad that you got my message. I put your thing in the show. I hope you got that message, and I'm very happy that you're logged on in Charlotte, North Carolina. Great to see you. I can't wait to show off your piece. Ryan, great to see you drinking cranberry brambles tonight and making peanut brittle. You are living the life. You are living your best life down there. Great to see you. Melissa, great to see you too. The house is looking fantastic. Gail, I will give Teddy your love, that little one. And Pam says, the piece is thistle flower, flowers of the forest. That's what I was thinking. And you know what? After the last episode, I was listening to that folk song. I pulled it up. Somebody sent me a different version. I listened to a few versions of it. It was very pretty. I love those haunting old folk songs. They're so atmospheric and so magical, Really enjoyed it. And Teddy hopefully will be okay. He's just wiped out. We had a long meeting at the school this morning. It was about 6 or 8 people in there, and I went in there like ready to fight. And everybody was so nice. I said a few bad words, but I didn't really dig in. There was no need. They weren't giving me a hard time. We're just trying to figure out what the best thing to do for him is. I think what we're going to end up doing is I'm going to end up picking him up a little bit early from school every day because I said he just doesn't have the stamina to be in this general education classroom as an autistic person. He doesn't have the stamina. He's all sweaty at the end of the day. He's really stressed. Like he's done. Stick a fork in him, he's done. And they agreed. They said stamina wise, it's not a bad thing. They don't do anything for the last 45 minutes but fool around, and that's not a good time for him because he's not really got any friends in the classroom. So he's kind of left out of the fooling around, and it makes a further kind of contrast between him and the other kids, which is the last thing we need right now. But hopefully he's going to be feeling better because we're supposed to be, I keep forgetting to tell you this, his friends are coming over tomorrow for a birthday party. It's not really a party. They're playing video games, and then I let them walk around the corner to the pizza joint by themselves without my face there. And I call the pizza joint and I give them my credit card so that they can have pizza and they don't have to be with mom. They feel like cool older kids. So they're doing that and gaming for about 5 hours. That is the party. And then on Sunday, we're leaving for New York City. And I keep forgetting to tell you this because it affects you too. We're going to be in New York Sunday, Monday, coming back Tuesday. That's what he asked for his birthday present. That's what I'm doing. Unless he's sick, that's what the plan is. So I'm hoping that he is not sick because he really wants to go. And if that's the case, it's going to upset our course of shows this coming week. So let me figure that out. Let me make sure he's okay. Let me make sure it's still possible to go. Right now, I'm right on the fence because if he's not feeling well, it's not going to be a good thing to do. Let me see how it goes and be looking for more information on the YouTube channel. Hopefully you're subscribed. And also our Facebook group, which is Raw Cooking and Punch Needle Club. I will certainly run a full course of shows next week and the week after. But we'll just have to figure out the timing because I'm trying to do as many of these birthday things that he's asking for as possible. Judy, what he wants to do, he wants to hang out. And, he loves to go to the Nintendo store. Jocelyn wants to go ice skating at Rockefeller. We want to see the tree for sure. And they like to go to FAO Schwartz, which is also right at Rockefeller. They like to go into Times Square in the evening when the lights are all lit and do the M&M store and the Hershey store. And there's like a Japanese kind of anime store that's called Line something that's right there too. They bomb around and they go from place to place, and whatever catches their eye, which is usually these big beautiful windows, they go in. They're like dogs with hydrants. They go in, they sniff around, do what needs doing, come back out. But I feel like the reason he's asking to stay over is because of stamina. He's a very low energy person. And he's thinking like, wouldn't it be nice and sophisticated to be able to stay and then hit it again in the morning without really putting the pedal to the metal as we normally do with these marathon visits to the city? And I would like to do that too. I really hope that it works out. It's really what he wants to do, and I really want to celebrate his last year before he's a teenager, however he wants to. So fingers crossed that he does well and that he's feeling better. My poor little one. So glad Teddy's, yeah. Oh, he should have a great time with his friends. 5 buddies coming over. That's like the most buddies we've ever had in one place in one time. I'm so happy for him. Susie, great to see you. Ryan says nice and sophisticated. It is a bit sophisticated. I always worry about everything right now, because it is a crazy world right now and it is a busy time of year, and I worry about that. I don't want to make stupid decisions about where we are at busy times. What a world, right? What a world we live in. But I'm sure that the English and the Irish were saying the same thing not too many years ago when they were having problems. It's always a crazy world. It's just the stakes are getting a bit higher, right? So we'll see what happens. I will keep you updated. So be looking at our show schedule. I'll see what is possible. Pam, this is just a beautiful piece. I do love a great abstract piece like this. There's so much that can be said for pieces like this. I always think about how one of my favorite artists is Annie Albers, right? The German teacher at the Black Mountain College, and she was a weaver. And her husband, Joseph Albers, did a study on the square. And while to us at this point in time that might sound like, ooh, wow, the square. Really. But you know, when you look up his work, and at that time it was very groundbreaking work because all of his compositions about the square, and it was the bulk of his life, right? The vast majority of his professional life, he was studying the square, and different sort of color combinations, optical illusions, multiples, but the square. And you know, it seems like how far could one go with that? What kind of mileage can you get with the square? Well, it's infinite. It's infinite. And with any shape that we look at, it's infinite. The amount of color play, the type of spacing. Imagine this composition, same thing, but much tighter together. Imagine all of these circles forming a pattern that was much tighter knit, completely different. Now imagine it much more loosely knit, different yet. Imagine it with a different a different orientation, a square, a hexagon, a circle, right? Different shapes for like the entire piece, right? Different. Imagine it with different colors of different sizes, because for the most part, Pam, you're experimenting with two different sizes. Thank you, Pam. You know, it's infinite. It's infinite. And once you get going, honest to God, maybe this is a fun thing for New Year's, or maybe this is a fun thing for around the holidays, just taking out a notebook, challenging yourself for just a week and saying, every day I'm going to draw, fully flesh out a composition that is just circles or just squares or just some shapes, stars, right? Anything. You'll be surprised at how different your compositions will be from one to the next. You will be surprised, amazed, and pleased because you're going to see that you have a lot of composition material right at the ready when you do these kinds of exercises. Pam says, yes, two sizes. Large was a template and the small was freehand. So much fun. And they're very irregular, which is part of the fun too. I'm going to unlock. Let me just unlock and look at this close up. You know, if Tommy took the time to make a very nice high quality photo, we should look at it close up. Oh, it's a lot of pretty yarn, isn't it? And that great nuanced background, right, with a lot of the dark, inky navy and the different shades of black and gray. There's a lot of play in the background. It's so artistic to look at something that has a black or dark ground, right? But it's upon closer inspection, it's made up of lots of different colors. So much fun to play with. Ryan says, I make most of all of my rugs and collage work in a square 12 by 12, kind of similar, and a fun exercise for any artist. That's a great reminder. You could also experiment with doing something that size. So 12 by 12 is a great tidy size. And Ryan, you're able to do compositions that are very different from each other, very different subjects, right? You always have that sort of pop art style and color palette that's different each time. The flower we saw in the last episode, the last gallery episode, fantastic. It is great, and it's a challenge to work within, not just with a specific shape, but within the confines of a specific size. It is the same kind of exercise, right? It challenges you to do so, it gives you an assignment, right? And once you get down, you're sitting down and you get committed to the assignment, you'll be amazed at what you can do. There's so much variety just with simple lines. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for sending a better quality one so we could really pull it open and look at the materials. I'm seeing like velvet or chenille as well. It is just lovely. Lovely mix of materials, lovely texture, beautiful irregular patterning. It's not a pattern because it's irregular, right? It's not a pattern. A pattern technically repeats, and this would not repeat. If this was like a piece of wallpaper, you could not match other pieces to the sides of it. It is not a pattern, right? It is its own composition. Pam, it's beautiful. Andrea, you sent some beautiful stuff too over the course of a couple of emails. So let me try to get this all done in the right. Oh, and Pam, you wrote for that last piece. You wrote, as promised, Tommy has taken a better photo of my runner. I hooked it for my sister for Christmas. I hope this will show better than the one I took. Looking forward to gallery night. Perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Now, Andrea, this is one of the images I have tonight for you. This one is, you wrote, here's my latest completed piece. It's called Circle of Life. Have I got the right image up? I think I have the right image up. I want to just be sure. But, Andrea, this is a gorgeous piece, right? This is a gorgeous piece. This has such a quality of being like a mosaic piece, which I'm sure you know. I'm sure that's what you were thinking. It is just I love circle pieces, right? Particularly when they're storytelling pieces. I'm not as big of a fan of circle chair pads, but this is a great cohesive piece. And if we're talking about the circle of life, it makes sense that it's a circle. And there are circles within circles. Helene, great to see you in New Brunswick. Birds. Okay, that one is not yours. So I screwed this up. Um, Andrea, bird's not yours. Okay. Does anybody know? Okay, this is awful. I don't know. I must have screwed this up. No, hang on. I love this so much, Andrea. Okay, so Andrea, I have your stuff in here. Now, what circle of life? I have, here's my last completed piece, Circle of Life. Thanks, Andrea. Andrea Warner, not Andrea Dimmick. I am so sorry. I'm crossing two Andreas, both excellent artists. So, still Andrea. Andrea Dimmick, I have yours next. I'm so sorry. I crossed wires. That's me being stupid. This is an Andrea Warner piece. I am so sorry. At least I'm not going nuts, right? Okay, hang on. So let's come back here. Oh my gosh. Nope. Andrea Dimmick, that's yours. Oh my gosh. What am I doing? Holy mackerel. Massive spoiler alerts. Let's look at this one first. I am so sorry. Andrea Warner, Circle of Life. Beautiful piece, right? I am so sorry. So this is really very mosaic driven with the gray kind of grouting in the background, the swirl of color that goes from blue to red through the primaries, but there's so many nuances of color. We're not just getting blue, red, and yellow, right? We're getting a primarily primary color palette, but it is nuanced. And really, that is what gives a lot of interest. Unless you are Andy Warhol, you know, it's not always for us the most interesting thing. People who are on the internet, people who, you know, have time and leisure to be able to visit museums, we see a lot of stuff. We see a lot of art. Primary colors, we see a lot of that, but we typically associate an all primary palette with pop art or optical art. This is not that. This is based on a primary palette, but you'll notice that the blues are really not primary. We go from a really electric blue that is beyond a primary, two shades of periwinkle, two very, very, very light tones of the same color off to the side, shooting out with a ray of turquoise. The turquoise kind of bleeds into yellow, doing an optical illusion, a little bit of green that our eye sees, right, just at first glance, and then moving into kind of fuzzy reds, brick reds, into blues, warm, cool. It's a great cycle for the eye. The piece is Cycle of Life, but it's a great cycle for the eye because we're really alternating between warm values, cool values, and optically, this is a bit of an illusion, right? This whole composition. It swirls out like almost like a kite, right? Like a ribbon. And coming from the center, that one bird, right? It has the feel also of a stained glass window, like a rose window. But I think that's because the leading could be seen as either stained glass or mosaic. But because all of the pieces are uniform and little chunks of square, it resonates more as a mosaic piece, doesn't it? It's an outstanding piece, and I don't know anything about it other than Andrea Warner wrote and said, here's my latest completed piece, Circle of Life. I'm not sure whether it's an original composition. It might well be. It is astonishingly great. Very, 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 very pretty. Very well done. Andrea. Okay, so here, let me move on. So this, I missed one. I missed one of your messages from way back in September. We overlooked this one. So Jane forwarded this message to me. We overlooked this one for a previous gallery night, and you wrote, "Oh, Andrea, I was gonna write at one point a couple of months ago. It must have been around this time, just to see how Fly the dog was doing. I'm so sorry." You wrote and said, "Sorry, I haven't been chatting recently. I may not be able to stay up to watch gallery night. We'll see. Not in the right headspace. Fly's pancreatitis flared up last weekend. The vet admitted him on Monday and put him on a drip, but he wasn't responding to meds on Tuesday." I'm so sorry. I missed all this. I didn't even remark on how sorry I was about this. On Tuesday, we had to make the tough decision to say goodbye to our precious papillon Fly. We are heartbroken. The house seems very empty. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Because the last time we talked about Fly, and let me show you Let me show you. This is a beautiful piece, and we'll come back to that. But let's just pause for a second. I would have certainly, if I had noticed this message, and I don't know how we missed it, I would have certainly written to say, I am so sorry about this. What a sweet, sweet, sweet pup. Because the last time we had a gallery night and we talked about Fly, he did have the pancreatitis, but he was doing better. It was that period of time where he was doing better, and then I missed the message. Melanie, great to see you saying that that this had happened, and I am so sorry. I really feel for you. He is precious. He is a little sweetheart. You're getting lots of messages in the sidebar. Absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah, I'm heartbroken about losing Fly, and I'm heartbroken that I wasn't there to say I'm so sorry to you when it was more relevant in September. It's very late coming now. I am so sorry. And Goretti just wrote, "Hi everybody, sorry I'm late. We are fighting the COVID bug. Oh, boy, here it comes. Goretti, I hope that you're feeling okay. I hope it passes really quickly. I hope that you have a good. You're on the upswing of it now. Oh man. Um, so Andrea, you sent that, and then you said, so for now, a simple gallery night. I think now. Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm not going to do a lot of. I'm not going to do too much more of this. I hope, Andrea, did you send this image as well? Remember, I'm a screwball. I just want to check if this is yours because I attributed this to you as well. But I am having the problem of Andrea confusions, right? I don't confuse you because I know the distinction between you two. I just wrote Andrea, which obviously is not completely useful when I'm running a show like this and there's work from two different Andreas. I'm sorry about that. I think this is what you meant by flower doodle. It, is it? Is it? 16. I'm trying to figure out if this could be right. This one is flower doodle. Andrea, is this flower doodle? I'm thinking it must be. I'm not sure if the proportions are right though. 16 and a half by 11 and a half. Is that possible? Wouldn't it be more square? That doesn't seem right. I hope I didn't screw this up too. I am so worried now. Um, but if it is correct, Andrea, brown one, not mine either. Oh my gosh. Andrea, so I will figure out who sent that brown one in. I am so sorry. I am really out of order. You know what I think it might be is I removed some of the slides from our last gallery show because this is the first time I've done two consecutive, and I might have screwed that part up. Hello, it's Deanna. I screw everything up. I am so sorry. But Andrea, is the flower, is this one here yours? I'm hoping I'm showing the one that you meant for me to show. Yes, flower doodle. Okay, very good. Andrea, I love this piece. But it can't be. It can't be 16 and a half by 11 and a half, right? Because it's way too long. It's got to be much longer or much less tall. Unless I'm cuckoo, it seems like it would be more of a rectangle. And this looks like a big, long piece. Maybe it's 26 and a half or 36 and a half. It is a beautiful piece regardless. I love the, oh, Dawn, great to see you. I love the stencil oh, good. Thank you for letting me know everyone's home. Joss was out ziplining, so it's good to know everyone's back because I left Teddy home alone. Love the flower doodle. Ryan says the flower runner is amazing. Total power move using, yes. Yes, thank you, Ryan. That is so true. You know, this whole piece is a great power move. It is really abstract. It has a stencil quality. Linda, that's a great word too. It is very cheerful. You know, it reminds me of stenciling that one would put on the wall back in the day. I'm still all for stenciling the walls, by the way. But it reminds me, it has that kind of stencil shape. It's very, very graphic. It's very colorful. It reminds me of like a wallpaper border. And I absolutely love the colors. I've never seen a wallpaper border that has colors that are this powerful and such great contrast. Great pop colors, pretty bright colors. John's just checking the size, 27 by 7. Well, that makes more sense because it is a big, long stretched piece. Thank you, John. Not that it really matters, but it is great because if someone's looking at this piece and saying, I would like a piece like that over the door, this is a long, skinny piece, and it would be super fantastic over the door, over a shelf, right, like long and skinny, over the window. There's lots of places where you could do this. Pam says it would also make a fun window topper. Oh, it would. Or a wide step runner. Now, see, this is great, and this is all fresh in your mind, Pam, because of your circle piece, right? And you're using yours as a runner, Andrea is using hers. Yours is framed already, and I have to say, I also love the matte black frame. The piece really is crisply, tidily framed, very sharp, right? But the fact that the wool is this dull textile like finish, and then you have the matte, that sort of shiny matte frame, it goes very, very well together. It's a great pop. It is a great power piece. It's absolutely beautiful. Your color choices are great too. I love that you went for wacky colors like blue and orange flowers, kind of alternating the values. And then you've got lots of pinks, lots of spots and dots out there. I love the pattern. Love the pattern. And I am not going to confuse this piece for any other piece. I used this for the thumbnail for tonight because this is one of the most astonishing pieces. This is peas pottage or peas potage soup. And then I put your newest message in here that said, "Hi, Deanna. Since losing Fly in September, the house seems very empty. My anxiety has gotten worse. I hope it's okay that I'm reading this. I've tried natural supplements, yoga, breath work. That's all very good. But you're seeing a doctor. Okay. This is all very familiar to me too. I've been down this road so many times, Andrea, with antidepressants and things like this. I know just what you mean. I feel for you. I think a lot of us can relate to this, particularly in the winter. You know, something like the loss of a family member is definitely going to do it, isn't? I mean, it would do it to anyone. Anyone with a heart and feelings would become completely unhinged. I don't mean that you're unhinged. I know that I'm usually unhinged. And I know that when I've had terrible bouts of depression, as you all know, because I talk about it all the time, I'm always very transparent because I know it's a common thing. And when people don't talk about it and normalize it, then when someone is in a bad place and feeling badly, you feel like an outsider, right? Like you're not part of the main flow of things because you can't manage your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings and your energy. It happens to, I think, most of us, to tell you the truth. It's only some of us talk about it and some of us don't. And certainly 'tis the season for fun. Also, 'tis the season for a lot of people to be scraping by. And I absolutely know that. And that's why I make a massive push at this time of year and right through those horrible, bleak winter months to be on as often as I can, because I know that this is the hard time for most of us. It's a lot of things compounding, isn't it? Yep, Susie too. I mean, it's a lot of us. I know. And I think just this sort of sensitive nature of people who struggle with depression, bouts of depression, whether it's like seasonal, yearly, intermittent, constant, whatever, right? I think those people tend to be artistic people, creative people, right? Those things kind of go hand in hand. So here we are together. So let me finish. Let me just shoot through this. Wait a minute, I'm just paraphrasing. You're spending 4 days this Christmas at a spa hotel. Oh, Andrea, where are you going? I'm curious because I know a lot of the spa towns in England. You've never been away for Christmas, so it should be nice and relaxed. Yes, I do want to come. You know, we've been doing the Jane Austen month on the channel, and I've been writing all the Jane Austen scenes. I think I'm up to scene 8 now. I put one out today. I'll put one out tonight before I go to bed so you can respond again. But it made me think about the years that I lived in the UK, and man, is it festive at Christmas time there. Both in London, down in Covent Garden, and all of the festivities, all of the shop decor, it's over the top. All of the pubs, right, and out in the countryside as well. Beautiful spa towns like Lyme Regis and Bath. Those are great places to go at Christmas time. It is so much fun. Rita says, I can't understand why mental health is still taboo. If we had breast cancer, people would be smothering us with love. But when it comes to mental health, they run the other way. Oh, I've never been to Cornwall. I do want to come. I want to respond to both of those things. Rita, you are absolutely right. Isn't it weird how that works? I think the thing with mental health, right, is it's new that we are starting to talk about it. And I think with people who don't have any experience being around other people with mental health, right? So like I've been told that I'm bipolar by many doctors. I feel that I'm not, but they might be right. Now, people who don't know those words think, oh, that sounds crazy. That must be crazy. People who have some experience with people who have mental health stuff know, right, the cycles that it comes and goes, that all the things that come with it, the things that are manageable, the things that are manageable with medication. But I think the taboo is like the lack of information and people going, ooh, that sounds cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I'm going to steer clear from that person. That person is nuts, right? That's the problem. We're very slow to redefine the word nuts. I'm the first one to admit I am truly nuts. But in a different way, right? All the other stuff is manageable. The being nuts is I don't even want to manage that part of it. Love the Jane Austen episodes. Thank you so much. Oh, Mom. Now, Andrea, you should check out, you might see some rug stuff while you're there because Diane Cox, Kox, right? She passed away. She was in Cornwall. I think she passed away 2 years ago, and I'm still in touch with her son, Jack. She did a beautiful body of work there and is absolutely iconic in the rag rug world, which was a lot of hooking with unusual, non-traditional materials. But I know that she wasn't the only one in that part of England. And you might see some interesting things in shops and shop windows. If you do, please photograph them and document them for us. Because I have yet to go to Cornwall. That is right at the top of my list. Cornwall, Daphne du Maurier Company. Are you going to go to Jamaica Inn? The whole Agatha Christie English Riviera, it all sounds amazing. God, me too. I'm nuts with you, Dawn. We'll all be nuts together. But okay, so this piece is absolutely unreal. This is Peas Pottage, 36 by 30. This is 100% wool yarn, cotton PJs on the left of the wall paneling. Okay, wait a minute. Cotton PJs. I'm going to have to split this open in a little bit. Andrea, she did do a lot of figures. She did a lot of faces. She did a lot of people. She did a lot of people with handbags. The handbags were one of her big things. Yeah, if you Google Diane Cox, Cox, you're going to find the stunning work. Or if you pull up some of the past episodes I did on her, I've covered her a ton because she is one of my all-time favorites. She's like in the Holy Trinity top 3 for me. And Pam says, I have friends who retired to Newquay, the best of all worlds, UK and beach. I know, right? It sounds like heaven, doesn't it? I'm going to stretch this open in just a minute because I want to check out the PJs on the left wall paneling. Also, glitter yarn in her hair, a wool jumper, meaning sweater, the grayish area near the candles above her on linen. Okay, so we're going to check that out too, the sweater material. I struggled with the face and hands. I'm going to pause to look up. Well, I don't see that. I don't see the struggle. I have to admit, I don't see the struggle at all. Not at all. In fact, I'm going to say to the contrary, and I'm not just saying this, I think that the faces are remarkably well done. Remarkably. There is not an overabundance. There is not a superfluous amount of detail that could be distracting. There's not a stupid amount of shading, right? That wasn't too judgmental. But, I think you hit exactly the right note in both the man's face looking down into sheet music, right? Just a pause, a breath, and the woman. She looks quite serious, stoic, very passionate, very intense. I think it's absolutely spot on. I was trying to add detail, but the area is still so small that it just didn't look right. Nope, no detail. I hope you never fool with it because this is perfect the way that it is. John will be making a frame. Think of a stretcher bars on a canvas painting. Perfect. This will prevent it from sagging when hung. That's true. I tried to contact the couple, but I haven't heard back. Oh no. So I have no idea if they're okay or still performing, which is a shame, as it would be so nice to show it to them. Oh my God. And then you ask about celebrations, and I missed this one too on time, but Andrea, you did get it in there, right? You did get it into celebrations. No title on the green one yet. Okay, we're going to look at the green one next. So Peas Pottage. Hold on just a second while I unlock this piece. Search Heather Ritchie too. That is good. Now, she passed away also, Rita, right? Also, it was maybe 2-3 years ago. Absolutely. Those are two of like the great names of rug hooking. Two of the greatest, Rita, what are they called? Goats, right? Greatest of all time. Two of the best goats. That might be redundant, but let's pull this open and see some of these materials. So there's pajama material on the left. God, it's so good I can't tell. It just goes to show, not that, you would be able to tell because something looked bad that you were using different fibers. But this just proves my point. I'm always saying, there is a very strong culture in the UK and in Canada to use a lot of different fibers in hooked pieces. In the US, it's starting to catch fire. I think in our group, we're talking about it constantly. People are trying it more and going, spaghetti-o, this is fantastic. I'm never going back. It's a preference thing. It's what you feel like. And of course, you can experiment in different ways from piece to piece. But you're using in this piece the PJs, the glitter yarn in her hair. You're using a cut up sweater. You've got lots of different things going on. This is an extraordinary piece. I mean, this is absolutely an extraordinary piece. Did you see what I just did there? Extraordinary piece, get it? Okay. I'm not going to quit my day job. Don't worry. I just want to show you something else. I'm going to move this over here just for a second. But her family, what is that? That's a thing, isn't it, Rita, with Heather? Her family still, she passed last year. Okay. So I think Diane passed the year before. Yeah. And because, when I went to the hooking group in Delaware, right, a couple of the girls, including Cindy Hugo, had just come back from a trip to the UK, and they had visited the family. Because they had done sort of the circuit of a lot of rug hookers, which included Heather Ritchie, although she had already passed away. So they must have been in touch with the family because that was a big part of their trip. That's one of the great benefits. When I travel to the UK, I want to put all of this stuff into place first so that I have lots of stops to do and I can really record stuff for us and we can really get into that tradition of doing rag rugs, mixing rag rugs, proggy, same thing, with what we do, right? That is gonna be good. I'm hoping that's coming up really soon too. Helene says, I have used roving wool. Yep, year in wool, glitter. Yep, the yarn in wool. I know that's what you meant. Glitter in the same rug, right? That it's so fun to experiment because it gives you such a different finish, such infinite variety, as Shakespeare would say. And I mean, just adds interest, doesn't it, when you put a lot of different things into a rug? Now, hang on. It is wonderful, but wait a minute. Uh-oh, I'm doing bad things. Hang on. Now, wait a minute. I'm going to open this one too. Now, wait a minute. Hang on. I'm going to unlock you stinker. No, you. Oh, I see. I need to unlock. Okay, hang on. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. It's me, still being a schnoodle noodler. Hold on. I unlocked the wrong thing. Give me a second. There we go. That's what I want to do right there. Now, honest to God, would you look at this? Whatever you're doing, just look up. I mean, this is incredible. This is just incredible. I was looking at this earlier because I am always interested in it. They're cropped, right? They're both a little bit different. I don't try to resize them a little bit. But I can see what you've taken out, right? You took out her notebook, her probably music book that's on the floor. You took out some of the jumble of stuff behind the tambourines or family members to the tambourines over on the left. You put in to the curtain where I think the PJs are. It is superb, Gail. You kind of mix that up a little bit with a little bit of a lighter color, right? And I think that really is striking and helps. Somehow you have managed to include a lot of the same elements, but your piece is very cohesive. It's not confusing. I mean, isn't this incredible how close it is? You took the glasses off of him. I think that was a good move because that is always confusing. You retained, right? Without doing exhausting detail, you absolutely retained the period of the costuming, the shapes, the details of the costuming, without going over the top, right? I just think it's absolute perfection. You should be so proud of this piece. I hope that you do get in touch with this couple because I can't imagine that they literally wouldn't fall off of their stools and over their music stands if they were to see this piece. It's just over the top. It is such a good piece that it's crazy. Hold on just a second. I'm going to do some, let me do some stuff. Wait a minute. I'm going to tidy up here. Andrea, thank you so much for sending these in. I'm so excited. Oh, this is one more piece that you were working on. I'm so sorry. This is the green piece that you're working on now. You said no title on the green. I've been wanting to do a single color rug. So mono color, monotone rug, right? Just one color. Even though they're different shades of green, it's still green, isn't it? So you've been wanting to do a one color rug. You've been waiting to. This will be for your lounge. I'm not a fan of Hessian, meaning burlap, but I had some, so I ended up using it for this one. I'm using roving wool yarn, two wool jumpers, sweaters. I managed to spend half an hour on it today as my focus isn't there yet. So, totally get that. God, do I get that. So trying to do things bit by bit. Also, I want to try and catch you Monday. Well, you did. You did. Andrea, this is a beautiful piece too. This is another great exercise. Maybe the theme of this episode is like experimenting with different ideas and different projects, challenging yourselves, right? We're right at the beginning of the holiday season, right? We're going to be blasting it for the next 2 weeks. This is a great time to look and think about some of the rugs that we're seeing tonight and say, I'm going to challenge myself. You know, if you don't come up with a great idea or a great composition, then you work on drawings and you say, well, I tried. I don't like what I did well enough to move it forward, but it might be that you do, and it might be that you want to start working on a monochromatic piece like this that is really an interesting challenge and is already off to being a great piece. It's got a great kind of animal print feel. It's got many prints converging in one piece, and because you're using the warm bronzy greens, those dark almost black evergreen pine colors, and these really bright spearmints, kind of winter green, right? Almost a seafoam green. Lots of fresh greens, lots of warm greens anchoring it down. This is an extraordinary piece. I can't wait to see how it evolves. My mom said, very nice piece with all the greens, from blue greens to yellow greens, very organic and lovely, lovely shapes. It really is. Pam says it reminds me of mossy ground. It does. It is very, very organic, but it also reminds me of fabric. Like I could see, I could see going into a fabric store or like a fabric for like house, like upholstery store, and seeing someone unwind a length of fabric that looks like this, right? It's very graphic. It's a super, for me, sort of 1920s slash 1980s print. I really love it. Helene says it looks like a river. It also does look like a river with islands. This could be a take on a Google map, right, from above, looking down on some water. It could absolutely be topography as opposed to a print. I suppose it can be whatever you see in it, right? That's the point of art. Andrea, you are welcome. Andrea, I'm hoping that you're feeling good. I'm hoping that the trip lifts your spirits a ton. A change is as good as a rest, as Agatha Christie said. It's absolutely true. And again, I'm so sorry about that little sweetheart fly. I am so sorry. It'll be good to reset yourself and hit the ground running when you feel like it. Pam says, can you imagine a chair covered in that material, plush? I would have that chair. I would have that chair in a second. It is absolutely stunning. Now, let's see. Let me come back over here. Karen, you sent some beautiful pieces too. Talk about festive. Karen Garby sent this piece. I just finished this Encompassing Designs 3D gingerbread house. Now, I have to say, I have been seeing people doing this gingerbread house from Encompassing Designs. What a great seasonal project. I've seen a few of them on our Facebook page. So much fun. I used number 4 cut wool and yarn, as well as Deanna's Pride collection. Okay, so that Pride collection is like the rainbow, right, of all these bright rainbow colors. That's one of the ones I did last summer or the summer before. That makes a lot of sense for this, needing all those brights, right? And so let's look at the sides of this, because she sent us a few different views. So pretty. This is really so pretty. I'm usually not a fan of 3-dimensional pieces, but this one really stands out because it's a holiday piece. It's festive. It makes sense to me seeing something that looks like a gingerbread house but isn't going to rot. It is so pretty. It's so cheerful. What a great opportunity. I'm guessing with this design, because everybody's looked different, I'm guessing that like a true gingerbread house, people maybe decorated it differently with their woolly candies, right, in different places. Because I don't think I've seen two alike, and I've seen a few of them at this point. I have to say, Karen really went like the extra mile, putting this beautiful, shiny, very sort of luminous white cording around the edges of it, giving that gable a nice pop, giving it a very finished look. My mom says the gingerbread house is perfect for this time of year. Oh, good evening, Kathy. Great to see you. Great to see you. This looks super yummy. It really does. It makes me sad that I haven't made a gingerbread house yet. I've got to get going. The time is ticking, but I got to get going with that. Very nice edging, isn't it, Linda? It really is like very, very fine. Now, speaking of fine, this is another piece that Karen sent. This is Karen Garby. Hold on just a second. I finished my hummingbirds. Now, do you remember this from past episodes? And this is an original design of hers. I think she was working on this in a workshop. The two hummingbirds are similar. I'm going to show you both together as well. The two hummingbirds are similar, but they're different. I used, so they're the same shape. You're going to see them together in just a minute. I used beading, felting, weaving, embroidery, and applique to complete this. Now, I'm going to show you a little bit closer up too, but let me just take a sip of my drink. I feel like you all are maybe having some nice sips, and I'm falling behind in the sip department. Guess I like red wine. So this has a lot. I think this was like a sampler kind of a class, because when Karen was starting this, we were seeing the weaving being done right at the throat of the hummingbird, right under its little beak, right? Lots of felting. Remember, she felted the face, she felted the leaves on that freestanding flower, right? The leaves at the bottom. There's cording that has been whipped in the blue or purple heading up to the three flowers. Linda says the embroidery techniques and execution are outstanding. So beautiful. Susie, it is so beautiful. That's okay, Andrea. We know it is the middle of the night over there. Happy weekend to you and John. Happy safe travels. Take lots of pictures. Feel better, or feel how you feel, and it is what it is. We are here for you, and we will be here for you when you get back. Have a great trip. Remember, with the hummingbird, right under the throat, it's sort of little breast area with the purple and the red. That's quilt fabric that's been appliqued on, so just stitched on, and then the scalloping gone over it as an embroidery technique. Now, what are we talking about here? We are talking about a piece that is done on linen, but this is not rug hookers linen, right? This is more the linen that people who do embroidery would use. It is much finer. It would not work for rug hooking, right? It is like, I don't know if it's like a handkerchief linen or what kind of weight of linen it is, but it's kind of like if you were going to do a cross stitch, it would be that kind of fabric as opposed to the more open weaved kind that we use, the linens that we use for hooking, right? This is very, very fine. It allows you to put a needle through and make very tiny stitches, embroidery motifs. It's an embroidery sampler. So it's not really showing us rug techniques, although it is reminding us that all of these techniques that we are seeing present with these hummingbirds, and let me show you the other one too, are techniques that we could certainly use in our compositions as rug makers, because whether you are using embroidery linen, cross-stitch needlework, right? Not needlepoint, but needlework, or rug hooking linen, it's still fabric, isn't it, right? And you can sew onto the back of it and do the same techniques. Oh, yes, you can, right? You can't hook into this, but you can use all these embroidery techniques onto sort of multimedia rug hooked pieces as well. And it's a great reminder of this. All of this is crossover stuff. If you ever have time, I always say this when we talk about embroidery, but I love the Erica Wilson era of the 70s. I love her sort of spin off of she did a show that reminded me so much in the 70s of Mr. Rogers, where she would kind of run. I hope that you've watched some of these if you've been watching for a while, because I do mention them from time to time. She would run around the set. It was like a set house. She would run past the windows and kind of wave in at the windows, very welcoming. And she would come in through the door and do kind of in her great, really over-the-top kind of British, very upper-class accent, unexpected, right? Anybody but the Queen, unexpected, may she rest in peace. And she would come in and say, well, this is what we're working on today, and wouldn't you look over here? And she would show you upholstery and her pattern piece for the upholstery, and pick up hoops and show you what she's working on. And it's an all embroidery show, but man, it's interesting. If you like rug hooking, you would also love watching Erica Wilson's shows, and they are on YouTube. I think they're all on YouTube at this point, so what a great opportunity to binge watch at night. But you will see all of these techniques on her show, I can guarantee it. absolutely beautiful piece. This is the two hummingbirds together. You can feel the wings fluttering. Oh, what a nice thing to say, Kathy. It does have a lot of movement. It's such a beautiful sort of nouveau style piece. It's a mirror image. This is the very kind of composition we often see in rug cooking, isn't it? Because we love our symmetrical compositions. They read very well as primitive and folky compositions. This is really taking it to the next level because of all of the techniques that are present in one piece. You can see they're not exactly identical. She's kind of done different things on each one, but same basic techniques in the same places. Really beautiful piece. I know that she's going to end up framing this, and I can't wait to see it framed. But this is the culmination of a lot of work, a lot of talent, a lot of creativity, and a lot of different techniques. I think so. Yeah, thank you. Really beautiful, Karen. Really beautiful. This next piece, Linda Schultes Hoffman. And I didn't get this one, or I didn't see it, one or the other for Halloween, but there's no way I'm skipping over this until next October. That is for sure. So let me just find my right place hang on just a second. Because Linda wrote, oh, don't feel like, hold on just a second. Wait a minute. I just want to be sure my pages are in order. I'm second guessing myself. Pattern, basket of wool, George this. Wait a minute. I'm going to click away for just a second to be sure. Now, I know we saw the parrot. Hold on. I'm not sure that we saw it finished. Hold on. I'm making a pig's breakfast of what we're doing. Hold on just a second. Gosh, I feel like I screwed up the text here. Boy, it's my night. The theme tonight is, thinking outside the box with new exercises and challenges. But the theme for me permanently is screwing up the text. Hold on just a second. I feel like these are ones that I put into a past show. I'm not sure. I'm going. You know what? No. Let me do this. Wait a minute. Let me come back to you while I struggle. Hold on just a second. You take a sip and you give me a minute to gather my stupidness. All right, Linda, pattern by basket of wool, George the Snowman. Dang it. I feel like I screwed that up. I feel like I left something out. Let's come back in because I'm sure that these are Linda Schultes Hoffman, and I feel like I screwed it up. Linda, I don't know if you're on tonight. I think I might have left out the text, or maybe there wasn't text for these, and I put them in. I'm going to wing it, right? Because this is also something that I can do. I want to wing it because I know that I am always raving about your iconic Halloween compositions. And again, I was not going to wait until next October to show this. I don't consider this particularly an all Halloween. There's skeletons. Well, there's skeletons. There's that. But they are holding a heart, right? So we could be talking about a Valentine of sorts. It's a beautiful piece with what looks like some great proddy detail in the hair, in the flower, cute comic hat on the head, kind of like a hiking, like a Alps kind of a hat with the feather coming out. Really, really charming. It is a sweet piece. It's very, very different. I absolutely love it. Love the colors, love your technique, love the designs, love this niche that you've been working in, doing all of these Halloween type compositions. I'm in love with all of them. And I just had to show this one because I feel like I might have dropped the ball in not showing it sooner, and I did not want to glaze over it because it is really, really lovely. And it's so creative. Did you think that it was possible to give such expression to two skulls? Like, honestly, think about it. The way that he's smiling and the way that that he looks happy. And my mom says, oh my God, Happy Scott, prettiest I've ever seen. Absolutely. It's a love story, right? There is something here, right, that transcends just like a picture of skeletons. She's grinning too. They both look super happy, super in love. Maybe this is a statement on eternity, eternal love, love outliving our crappy human carcasses. I don't know. There's probably a lot of metaphors here, but it is super, super, super sweet. And it just goes to show faces are hard, but even the simplicity, right, that all you get with a skeleton face, hollow bits and a collection of teeth, even within those confines, you can get great expression because these are two happy looking skeletons. Haven't said that lately. And I think we saw the Day of the Dead. Absolutely. That makes way more sense than Halloween. Thank you, Rita. Way better. Yeah. So I want to revisit that again. We should have a Day of the Dead episode next year. We'll do that too. We'll separate those two things distinctly. Do Halloween and Day of the Dead, right, respectively. I know we saw this being done, and I think we had some questions about, let me do this one first. Color, right? Oh, no, wait a minute. She was doing the match, right? We were talking about doing the match for it. So this is the one that was finished. We saw this one being made on past episodes. We absolutely loved it. And then this was the next one she was working on. And the question, I might have shown these before because I feel like she said, what color should I do the background? And I can't remember what we said. Let me just look at the one before it. Okay. So this is blue, black, red, and orange. This is red, blue, purple. I would almost be tempted for myself to say black. I'm not big on black backgrounds, but I think in terms of if they're going to be a pair, for myself, I think I'd go for black. I wonder what Virginia Snow, and this you can see on the bottom is a Virginia Snow pattern. I wonder what number 638 was. Because, of course, patterns from this era, this is probably a 1930s era pattern, they tried to sell you the pattern to hook or more likely to punch, right, with a shuttle punch. They would sell you the pattern and want to sell you the yarn that went with it. And they were kind of, all these companies were there. I'm sure there was never a person called Virginia Snow. It was probably a group of men sitting around in a room thinking about how to sell stuff. Not to be cynical, but come on. Another Betty Crocker situation, right? But I'm thinking, when these patterns came out, that they were working on the premise that if you did not buy the right colors, that you would not have the confidence to go ahead and color plan it yourself. So they stamped the sort of designated color paint by number style. This is pre-paint by number era because paint by number happens at the year 1950, not before, not after. On 1950, we see the first paint by numbers. That matters a lot in the timeline of art because that really is the time that we know for sure people were at peace enough with being dictated color placement too that these kits became super popular. In the rug cooking world, we were doing it much earlier, and people were saying, what you need is number 638. And people would think, well, if I don't do 638, I'm probably going to screw it up, right? And most people live in that spot. I have to admit, I often live in that spot myself. But interesting. I agree, Helene. I think midnight blue might even be a better call because it's more unexpected than black, isn't it? I think that's a great call. Let me look at the one before it. You know what? I think you're right on the money because this is like a turquoise and a black. I think midnight blue is even better because we're not repeating colors from the one before, but it still has that good balance of dark and light. If they're hanging together, it would make a lot of sense. You know what is so fun with this piece? Just the idea that, and I know Robin LaForest was doing this too. I forgot to ask her if she's been working on this piece or not, and I just saw her not that long ago in person. Isn't it a great idea? Now, here's something else. Say, for example, you thought to yourself, I'm going to go on eBay and I'm going to look at some of the rugs that are on there. And maybe there's one of a bird, a house, a landscape, a sheep, God knows what. And you think, well, this is a pattern. I wonder, I'm going to buy this one that's finished. I wonder if I can buy one that's not finished too, because I can guarantee you between eBay, Etsy, just like the shopping tab on Google, you can find a lot of the same patterns with these older patterns. One that's done and one that's blank ready for you to do. Now, wouldn't it be a fun thing to get a finished one that some unknown person in the past has done and to find the same pattern and to do it yourself as a pair? Wouldn't that be I feel like I need to do that now. I feel like I need to do that. I can't do it immediately because we're in our Jane Austen month, but I feel like that would be such a fun challenge to do. That's got me thinking. Dave, great to see you. Cider and pizza tonight. Making a toy rabbit for Christmas. That sounds like so much fun. Helene, I like the midnight blue. If it were me, I would go for midnight blue too. I think that's a really, really good suggestion. I think that really is the answer. I mean, I can't think of anything that would fit better. Now, okay, snowman. Okay. Mm, okay. Um, oh, you know what? God, I'm such a dingbat. There was a thing. It said from Linda, these rugs are not for the proper season, so feel free to cut them for more appropriate ones. No way. The finished Polly rug, Polly the parrot, you've seen before. I have donated it. Oh, you donated it to the Middleborough, New York Library for basket raffle. Oh, okay. Being held this month. 6 chances for $5. Oh, that doesn't seem like enough for such a good piece. If anyone is in the area. Okay, so that's this month. If you are near Middleborough, New York, right, the Polly one that she was working on, the parrot that we were just talking about, she donated it to the Middleburg Burgh Library in New York, not New York City, New York State, and you can enter the raffle for that. 6 chances for $5. That is really interesting. What a great thing! What a great thing to have. Okay, so that's the finished one, and the second poly is in the works still, and you are deciding about the background color. Maybe we helped. And the next is better suited to Halloween, but we enjoyed it immensely. The Halloween Day of the Dead, Skeletons in Love, is fantastic. We loved seeing it. We loved seeing it in December. We'll love seeing it again next year for sure. I'm going to want to look at that again. So that makes sense. Now, this piece, I'm glad that I'm all caught up because I was thinking I really messed up. So this is pattern. The pattern is by Basket of Wool, George the Snowman, and this piece is by Mary Beth. Yes, Mary Beth. Okay, gotcha. Okay, thank goodness I got that straight. So Mary Beth did this piece. Materials, facial features, and buttons are nylon from Ribbon Candy Hooking. Fantastic. And the rest of the snowman and the background is t-shirt yarn. Oh my gosh, Mary Beth, this came out so great. Now let's look at this for a minute and talk about this together. I want to spend some time here. I'm going to take a swig. Allie, great to see you. Thank you. It is so much fun doing this green screen thing. I don't like how it loops. I feel like if I was with you for an hour, it would be super annoying. Almost like one of those Victorian things when you're looking through, and you just move the paper and it keeps going around. Love how the nose and buttons make, let's look, Judy, make an exclamation point. Oh my God, they do. They do. That is so cute. There is a lot that I love about this piece. I'm just going to take a quick sip. Oh, that's so good. Take a quick sip. Just kidding. I love this piece. One of the things I love about it that I feel is so unexpected is that it's a white snowman, right? And then it has a little bit of gray outlining, and then we're looking at white again, and then we're looking at a border of gray. This to me is very, very, very clever and different. There's always a problem with snowman if you want a nice white background, snowy, blizzardy background like I've got behind me tonight, then it's going to be white, isn't it? But if you've got a snowman, he's going to be white too. That's a problem, isn't it? This is a great solution to the problem. Doing something that's very, very bold, like that nice gray border, and this I think is the nylon part. I think, let me just read what she said. What part was the nylon? Let me just review. Facial features and buttons are nylon. Oh, I bet they came in the stock. I bet they came in the stocking pack from Halloween, wasn't it? I got those big Halloween bags and I filled them with cut up pieces of bright stockings. See, that's just what I was hoping that the people who bought those, because they're out of stock and now I can't get pantyhose anymore, that the people who bought those would find neat, cute, small places to plug in that material. That's just what Mary Beth did. Great thinking. The rest of the snowman and background is t-shirt yarn. Fantastic. This makes a lot of sense to me. Don't you love how I love the exclamation point too, Judy. That is very, very sweet. I love the little gray eyes outlined with black, very primitive shape, a lot of personality. Again, we always say as rug hookers, oh, it's so hard to hook faces. Well, we're seeing a snowman now with a really unique expression on his face, and we just saw 2 skeletons with very unique expressions on their faces. Think about it, right? What your idea of a face is, if you're thinking of something that's photorealistic, well, yes, that is difficult, whether you're painting or hooking or what. But if you think about it, there's so many ways to handle a face and expressions. If you are happy with doing something in a more graphic way, the world is your oyster. You just do it and you fine tune it and you take a loop out here and you put one in here until you feel like you are there with how you want the face to look. This face is really confronting in a happy way, in a friendly way, the viewer. That little face is right in our face, right? He is definitely looking at you right now, isn't he? Really beautiful piece, really unusual. I love the colors that you plugged in because it's a very limited color piece, but you managed to put some interesting color in it. It's bold, it's graphic, it's cheerful. It's a great, happy piece for this season. Helene says, working with jersey is nice to hook it. It is so nice to hook with. Just like pantyhose, it has that great stretch. Kirsten says, t-shirt material. I'm blown away. It's amazing how far you can go with a cut-up t-shirt in every way. I feel like t-shirt and pantyhose material stockings, I feel like because of the nature of them being knits and stretching, I feel like they do go a little bit further than milled wool does. That really won't stretch, right? You're pulling up loops. You get, it is what it is. You pull it up, there's the end of the loop, boom. But with stretchy material, sometimes you pull up a little bit more and you realize it comes up just a little bit more, but multiply that by every loop and you've got quite a bit more material. I feel like I go better mileage wise with knits than I do anything else. Helene agrees with that. It's just a lot of fun and you feel so good and thrifty when you're working with recycled pantyhose, recycled t-shirts, all that stuff. It feels good to use it, right? So I'm moving on to Linda Natate. I always say your name wrong. Natatis, I think it is. Beautiful. We saw this in progress too, but not finished. Owl design by Kay Lefebvre, of Wool Genie. That's the company. I changed it up a little. I left out the mouse and I added more leaves. Gosh, I remember you started this picture. I remember we all fell off our seats and we loved it. I can't remember if the mouse was in it when we saw it. I have to say, I can't picture it with the mouse. But oh, good. I'm glad I said that sort of right. It's a tough one because it's got a lot of letters. This is so good, Linda. This is so good. I feel like I'm glad you took the mouse out because when you see a mouse and you see an owl, you know that the mouse is about to turn into a ball of fur and bones inside the owl's body. And nature is nature, and the poor old owl has to eat. But it's kind of like here's the dinner and here's the diner. You know what I mean? I love that you added more leaves. I love that it's just a study of one motif. This is another example of the main character is the owl and he's looking right at us. He's looking right out of the composition at us. He's locking eyes with us just like the snowman was in the last slide. Isn't that something? Because, when, pictures like this, right, like motifs like this, really stand out, I think, extra when the subject is making eye contact. Sometimes when you see this, like in photography or in painting, if it's very realistic, sometimes it can be almost confrontational and make you a little bit uncomfortable. But when we see things like animals and snowmen, it's somehow funnier, right? It's less nerve-wracking to see it locking eyes on you. I can't believe how well this came out. You wrote most of the outer border, the leaves, and the black background, and the brown on the wings is recycled wool. I bought at a sale from a hooker that had moved on to other hobbies. Perfect. Everybody wins, right? She got to move on to her next thing. You got to have these great supplies. It turned into this great piece and probably 100 more great pieces. My mom says, very striking owl. Super. It really is. Great colors. Pam says, really nice. It smelled okay, so the material that you got from the other hooker smelled slightly of mothballs. When I pressed it, it smelled a lot like mothballs. Okay, because you activated the smell that was in it when you put a little bit of heat and maybe a little bit of steam on it. So you're posing the question to the group. Question, how do you store wool to keep moths out? I'm going to hold on that, and I'm going to read the rest of what you wrote. And you all can dig in there and answer, and I'm going to give my answer too. So color choices. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, color choices. Canvas versus Oz. An interesting thing that happened over the months it took. You had cataract surgery. My daughter said I acted like I went from black and white in Kansas, oh wow, to living color in Oz. Oh wow. All colors are so much more vibrant. Oh man, I am so happy for you, Linda. That is really fun. Is that what it felt like for you too, from your point of view? Did you, well, probably not because, well, I don't know, did it? Did you feel like with this change that you're able to see colors like they're more rich, they're more vibrant, there's more variety? That is really interesting. And you wrote, after the first one, I looked at the outer border and said, what was I thinking? Because the reds and purples looked a lot more alike than they really were. Interesting. I was going to rip it out, but I decided to leave it because it will remind me of how different, oh my God, the world looks to me now. What an, oh my God, what an amazing message. This is remarkable. Now, this is really interesting. This is a whole subject in and of itself for a show. Linda, you said, yes, I spent weeks exclaiming about colors. God, I'm so happy for you. This is really exciting. It is like living in Oz. You suddenly hit Technicolor. And Pamela says, Linda, I am so glad you got the surgery. It was the best thing I ever did. Cataracts really destroyed my color. The difference is just like being a newborn. That is so exciting. And it's really exciting that we're seeing both of these worlds collide in this one piece. I'm very glad that you didn't change it because it wasn't wrong, right? It represented the before and now we have the after. This is just remarkable. Linda, I'm going to have to pull up. I want to talk about this on coffee time too. I'm going to pull up the owl before, or if you get a chance, send me as many pictures of this piece as you can. I really want to look at this for myself because this is like where science and art are colliding in this one conversation. It's really a lot of fun. I know a lot of people have cataract surgery. Mom, did you have cataract surgery? I think you did. And I haven't. I'm probably looking at that in the future, but I'm so interested in this conversation because we talk about color, and we talk about color a lot on this show. And we aren't always talking about the same thing, right? And we know that even whether your eyes could be improved, whether they're just the way that they are, whether some people are a little bit colorblind and that really doesn't change. There's all different manner of seeing colors in a different way. I don't want to say imperfect, right? Because who's to say mine is better than yours, right? What color is that? Oh, I think it's blue. You think it's green. Well, what are we going to go with, mine or yours? It doesn't really matter. It's kind of an academic question. The question is, at the end of the day, about harmony. Is there harmony in the finished piece? Do you have a balance of color and in the right amount of contrast, right? Are things popping the way that you want them to? Not me, but you. Yes, they are. I mean, I'm going to answer for you because how could it be any other way? This is a remarkable piece. I love the little glow of yellow around the head. I love the beak. I love the set of the eyes. I love the high relief that looks much more sort of woolly, yarny on the body, right? Real feathery, soft, downy feel to it on the body of, and then his little wings coming down like a little soldier, right? Very, very tight, very nice, sort of stiff pose, right? Just as you would expect to see this owl. Really beautiful. The frame is astonishing. The leaves are fantastic. And I love it exactly the way it is, minus a second motif. I feel like no matter where the mouse was, it would have been confusing. I can't picture which leaves you added, but I'm guessing they're the ones on the bottom right. And I can't imagine this piece without, particularly with the black background. By the way, I love the way that the owl is breaking the border on the top and the bottom. Um, Let me catch up on comments. My mom says, yes, I had both eyes done. Lenses in each eye, one for distance, one for close work, perfect vision ever since, done 20 years ago. Fabulous. That's amazing. Pam says, do you realize the difference? You don't realize the difference in how they make things so dull and yellowed. Then you get that wow when you can see again. God, that must have been amazing. Linda says, I had been getting into arguments with a 5-year-old because I couldn't tell very dark blue, purple, green apart. Yeah, that's really interesting. Maybe that's what tipped you off, that you really weren't seeing things the same, right? And that maybe it was something that was kind of, no pun intended, black and white, like colors are actually off. Um, the main thing is that now you have this great variety of color, right? The whole spectrum is back and available to you, and it'll be so much fun to see what you do. This is the ultimate statement piece for this conversation about cataract surgery and just your eyes changing. This is so interesting, and this has not come up yet on the show. So I'm very happy to talk about this. I'm very happy that you sent this in. The owl exceeds expectation. The changes you made must be perfection, because I can't imagine this piece looking any better. I love the movement in the frame. I really do. I love the irregular movement in the outer frame, and I love the more wood grain kind of patterning on that inner frame and the dark background. Couldn't be any better than it is. It's absolutely fantastic. Beverly, oh, Beverly, I wish I put the second one. Dang it. When I put this in, it was last week, remember? And you know how fast Beverly works. She works impossibly fast, like there's a motor hooked up to her. Beverly put this in. She said, "Hi, Deanna. These two Santas are 14 inches." Oh, wait a minute. I've got the wrong one. I've got the wrong one. Oh, wow. I missed putting the Santas in. I'm going to look for those for a cocktail time. But Beverly, I know that this is yours too. You know what? I think I did. Um, oh, no, no, wait a minute. That was from, nope, I was looking at Mandy's. I was looking at Mandy's. Nope, Beverly didn't send text, right? This is me being stupid again. No, Beverly just sent this in. And in the meantime, in the 1 week that eclipsed between us like saying hello last Friday, was it last Friday? Yeah, I think it was last Friday. Last Thursday. And now she's finished this piece, of course. So I'm going to have to show this to you again, because this is where it stood last Thursday. And beautiful piece. I'm sure this is her own design. Remember, Beverly does her own dyeing too. So putting together a great, fun, cheerful, iconic kind of a Christmas composition with these two snowmen and this great diagonal peppermint striping on the border. So good. Classic Beverly hit or miss background, isn't it? Really, really good. Marble cake, swirls, snowflakes. I'm gonna move on because I want to show you this piece with the finished example. I wish I would have remembered that this piece was in the show before I opened the show, because it is a great finished piece too. It has amazing impact and very, very cheerful for the season. Pam says, Bev, I love seeing this piece on the ribbon candy hooking site. It's so Christmassy. It is so Christmassy. Beverly does so much stuff with holiday, right? Holiday seasons, all kinds of red letter days. She does all of it. She's got all kinds of stuff hanging up on the door, things she moves around. I mean, she hooks for every season, every day. She's just a powerhouse in terms of output. All right, let's see. Mandy, I am so sorry. Here are the two Santas, of course. Let's see. Hi, Deanna. These two Santas are 14 inches high, freestanding yarn on monk's cloth, my own design. We'll leave it to you. You are so good. The red one is for my penguin-loving baby sister, Jillian. Oh, I'm just looking up to see it, too. That is too cute. God, and don't you love the patterning of the stars? Oh, I just love this picture too, Mandy. I love these characters. I love the way you handled the beards differently. I love that the patterning on them is different, but it's a similar pattern. But with the red one, this is what we were talking about at the beginning with Pam's piece, right? One of the patterns is much more closely knit, like the repeat of the little stars. And with the red one, that's more spread out, making it look completely different. But you can tell they are a great pair. You wrote, I've added some embellishments such as bells, buttons, and bows. I think that must be a song, isn't it? Bells and buttons and bows, something like that. A felted heart and a crocheted scarf. Oh my God, how cute is that? Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year. Love from Mandy and Spot the cat. Oh my word. These are just adorable. I'm seeing in the basket a little kitty face. That's got to be one of the embellishments. I love seeing stuff. I mean, they're obviously a pair. The faces are done, they're done by the same person, but they are quite different. And what a lot of fun. You know, this is definitely the season for doing three-dimensional work. In this season, it makes a lot of sense to me to have these beautiful textile pieces Buttons and Bows, Dinah Shore. Thank you, Dave. You always know. Buttons and Bows. That is a good song, isn't it? I'm trying to think of the tune of it. It'll come to me at 3:13. And a close-up of one of the Santas, right? Really charming. It looks like some decoration around the neck, too, and a little embellished star on there for Jillian. What a great piece. It's really smart. Again, with faces, right? We're not talking about crazy detail. There is just enough detail to read a real expression in this face. The separation of the big kind of walrus mustache against that little, a bit of a darker, high luster yarn. That definitely looks like yarn in the beard. Really smart. And the mustache matches the eyebrows, some sort of tired, a little bit aged, right? The eyes underneath and the big red nose. Really not cartoony. It's just really well done. Definitely reads as a Santa. It's a gorgeous piece. I have to say, I also love looking at your house in the background. I noticed in the last picture it was like you could see lit up lights in the background. And I loved seeing the Santas on the busy mat because it was kind of a repeat of the sort of holly design that you had posed them on, kind of matched their outfits with the little star designs. Really pretty. Are these mounted on wood, I wonder, Judy says. Old World Santa, Kathy says. They are more of an Old World Santa than the Coca-Cola Thomas Nash Santa, isn't it? Are they mounted on wood? I'm thinking they're probably not. I'm not sure if Mandy is on. Mandy's in Canada. I'm not sure that they are. I don't think. I think when they're mounted on wood, we call them, what do we call them? Dummy boards, or fire boards, right? If they're large and they're like traditionally meant to go in front of the fire when it's not on, in front of the fireplace anyway. I think it's probably stuffed. I don't think she sent a picture of the back because I feel like if she did, I would have included it. But I'm guessing that these are fairly two-dimensional but quite stuffed. I feel like if you did, I'm going to show you what my idea for this is. If I have a pen. Do I have a pen? Don't have a pen. Hold on. Do you have a pen, Jay? Let me see. Yeah, anything. I'm going to come to you for a minute. Hold on. I'm just going to take a quick sip. I'm thinking about how if I was going to do this, I'm thinking about how I would do this because I have to say, lately my son Teddy's been designing a lot of plush toys. Thank you, and I have to make them, right? So like the toast, I made the toast, and then I made a spider the next day, and he picked. Guess what the next one is? It's not the computer, right? The computer is on deck. He picked the next one he wants. It is a fly swatter. I'm not kidding. He wants a plush toy of a fly swatter. So I've had to be very creative about how I do stuff like this. Luckily, I have a degree costume construction, which means I'm pretty good at making patterns. So if I was going to do a Santa, let's say I was going to do a figure like this, I would do two of them, identical for front and back, right? But did you notice that in order for it to stand, it has to be on a circle base. So if I was going to do, I don't know what that was. If I was going to do, if I was going to make a standing Santa, I would be thinking about filling it at the bottom, maybe with something heavier like sand or beans or something, and then putting it later on top like a weeble wobble, right? So it stays standing up. But I would aim to put a circle base on it, and I would first sew the two pieces together like this. First you hook them, right? First you hook them and leave a little bit of a seam allowance, right? And then I would be looking to stitch them together right up against the loops, and I would attach them. So now I have one, and when I got to the bottom, I would be experimenting with a piece that if it wasn't, I wouldn't do a circle, I would do more like an oval, because you want a good solid place for it to stand. I would be thinking about cutting like a heavy piece of cardboard for the oval, right? And then putting something heavy close to the bottom in terms of stuffing. I'd probably hold it upside down, push as much stuffing fabric as I could in, and then right on top, holding it upside down, add a few beans or something like that right in here to make it heavy, and then hand sew the top on. It might be that you would have to cut the circle part as you went, because maybe you start with a circle part or the oval part being too big. But once these are pretty sewn up and the bottom is just open, right? You spread it open a little bit. You hold before you stuff it with beans. you hold it down and make a template of a circle on the larger size, so that when you get this, when you hold the circle up to it, right, it's not going to be too small when you cut it out of fabric. You hold it up and then you just start sewing it. Start with the front, right? Start with the front, because you can always fool with the back. Do a little bit of the front, right? See how it's going. Make an assessment about whether your circle base is too big, because it probably will be. And you might want to trim it down a little. Once you get going, right? And I would be stitching it up, I think, in the back, right? I mean, I would, because I wouldn't trust myself. Either right in the back or on the two sides, one or the other. But make an assessment as you go around, right? Don't cut it too soon. Make sure that you have enough material to do your stitches all the way around. And get it stitched up good, and then there you go, walrus beard, right? Big nose, little eyes, right? And then the big beard like this. I mean, it's a great project to do, a great project. Um, oh, okay, let's see, LOL. Why not pop a bottle with half of, ooh, interesting. Oh gosh, that's a great, okay, wait a minute. Let me catch up on these great, you all have some great ideas. Okay, Blue Bus Gypsies, I'm so excited to finally be getting on live. I'm very excited that you're there too. Super big welcome to you. Very happy that you're there. Maggie says, way to go, Beverly. Your piece is just beautiful. Everyone's work is so nice. And let's give a shout out to our beautiful Deanna. You are so sweet for everything she does for us when we're, oh, you are too sweet. You are too sweet. Thank you, my love. Sending lots of love right back to you. And Pam says, could you use a heavy cardboard base covered with felt or something? Absolutely. Absolutely. You could definitely do that. You could use any kind of fabric for the base or cardboard, right? If you use a cardboard base, right, you could use cardboard if you wanted to. Take an awl, which is like a long sewing needle, or a long sewing needle like a doll's needle. Awl is better because it's a little bit more weighty, a little bit more substantial, a bit of a weapon. And punch holes through the cardboard first, so that you do have something that you can sew into in the base, right? Punch through first. Don't punch through cardboard when it's partly sewn on. It's going to be too fiddly. Punch through cardboard first, right? If you plan to put a cardboard base on there. If you plan to cover the cardboard, do it with glue, right? Put a piece of fabric like quilt fabric or felt, just glue it on there just to get that done. Give it a nice soft surface. Glue is fine on paper. Perfect. Put the holes in first so that you know where your needle's going. You don't want to be punching a needle through cardboard while you're holding this thing upside down. I know you know that. Sometimes it's just worth saying it. And now we come to Helene's, why not pop a bottle with sand? You could absolutely do that. There was in, I want to say, the 70s, 80s, and all of the women's magazines, because I have lots of Christmas magazines from that era, there was a great wave of using like soda bottles as the base for Christmas characters like snowmen and Santas and reindeer and everything. Do you remember that? That was a big thing in magazines, like cutting the bottom if it had like the weird boob type contours on the bottom, you know, all those bubbly things, cutting those right off and then using the bottle as like the base and making things that fitted the base, either for fabric dolls or crocheted dolls. That was a big thing. And absolutely you could use that same premise now. That would work great. That would work great. That's a great idea. Shani says, I might leave it hollow like a puppet and put it down over something like, you are on the same page, a 2-quart soda bottle. There you go. Great minds are thinking alike there. You two are so funny. You are right on the same page. LOL, too funny. Just said that. And so did you too. Yeah, you're all thinking the same thing. I overcomplicate stuff, right? I do everything the hard way. I should give a shout out to all of you while I'm putting together the plush fly swatter, shouldn't I? Because you know I'm going to make that as complicated as can be. Like an appliance cover. Yes, Shani, yes, exactly like an appliance cover, right? Like a tea cozy, right? Putting something that fits over something else. That is absolutely brilliant. That is brilliant. I really like that. And you know, it would be so interesting if you got in the habit of doing that and you found something that you would like to cover, like a soda bottle or an appliance, like whatever, and you were thinking, okay, well, I'm going to do different characters for different seasons or different holidays. How great would that be if it didn't actually have a bottom, right? What Shani is describing, because you could take it off and it would fold flat, right? If you meant to put it away for part of the year, it would just fold flat. How great is that? And then you put a different character over the top. That makes a lot of sense. I like that very much. Like an appliance cover. A great idea. Yep. Judy says, so many great ideas. Thanks for brainstorming. Isn't it great when we brainstorm? We get from point A to point B like that, right? As soon as my mouth starts running, you all always think of a better way. And believe me, I file it for future projects. I really appreciate all of the great ideas. Oh, tea cozy. Yeah. Right, Pam? That's a great thing to punch. We don't see enough tea cozies in our lives. Whether you're a tea drinker, a teapot collector, or owner, doesn't matter. Everybody needs a tea cozy. Am I right? All right, let's come back over here. I'm being very naughty. I'm going off on terrible tangents, and it's 8:30. All right, let's go. Kathy, beautiful piece of you. Oh, God. Kathy, you finished this too. This is another one, just like Beverly's, that I forgot to go back and find the finished one. Dang it. Well, you were working on this, and I love it. These are both to be continues because, oh, Veronica, great to see you. So happy to have you always. And thank you for the compliment on the snow. I am loving these green screens. You have to thank Jay. He's been figuring out how to do this because I cannot do this on my own. This is beyond my technical prowess. So, Kathy, this is so pretty. You got this pattern. This is one of my patterns, Magdalena's hook along. This was the hook along for the last month. And I saw somebody in the Facebook group said, why is it like Magdalena? And, you know, there was lots of responses on that thread. And Magdalena Bryan Eby is a 19th century rug hooker, very well known for her famous sort of iconic motif, which is like it's called the lollipop tree or the lollipop bouquet, that actually looks like this, but a little bit upside down, right? So I've modified it considerably, but I think it has the same feel as a Magdalena. And I thought it was a good kind of rug hooker's joke, right? For those of you who love primitive, who love Magdalena, seemed like the perfect thing to do. And Kathy, I'm going to have to show your finished piece as well. We do have some serious Christmas episodes coming up next week, without a doubt. But I absolutely love the way that this was evolving. You got it with the pattern, and you were using your own materials. And man, you really killed it in terms of this being gorgeous. This is gorgeous. I really love some stuff that you did. I have not finished my piece, and I have not even had a chance to work on it. I hope to do that over Christmas. But I love the color palette that you're going with. I love that buttery background. I love the dark green for the tree. And I love that you did all kinds of similar red colors for the fruits, apples, berries, you know, the fruit motif. It's really, really sharp, pretty Christmas colors. The lamb's tongues are coming along in the same kind of color family. And you introduced a little bit of blue. You kept the star that happens to fall right above the tree as the yellow star, right? It's very traditional, but it's also extremely playful, and it's really well done. It's really well done and creative. Let's look at this piece, this slide, but also the finished piece next week when we do a full blast Christmas episode. We're going to do a couple of full blast Christmas episodes. This piece was sent in. This was my thumbnail for the last episode. This was sent in by Lynn of Stonehill House. Remember, Lynn is doing a series of, if you remember from past episodes, a bunch of 13 by 13. Ryan, this reminds me of you and your 12 by 12, right? Same kind of thing. Let's stick with one. Oh, Kathy said it really doesn't show, but it has sparkly yarn for the red and the blue. You know what? I have to go back and look again. I think, I think I was reading it as, okay, I'm going to unlock. Oh, yeah, you know what? I can see it. Hold on just a second. Let me come back here and let me stretch. I was reading it as like a tweedy material, but you're right. It is a little mixed. Oh, it looks like a lot of sparkle. Is the green, the door mill sparkle wool, that green color? And I do see the sparkles in the red, and I do see the sparkles in the star. I bet it is super blingy in person. I remember when I saw the finished piece, I was like, whoa. Excuse you, Jay. Bless you. This huge burp coming from the other room. It is. Yeah, that sparkle wool is like nothing else. I didn't even look this year to see. I should have seen if they had sparkle wool because I do a lot of my wholesaling from Door. I love their sparkle. The sparkle is a metallic content. It shows up very well because I've dyed a lot of the sparkle wool. It still shows up very, very well. Super blingy piece, Kathy. I really, really love it. That's definitely going to be in one of our Christmas shows. No doubt about it. Lynn, you were working on a series of 13 by 13, and we've seen a few of them on past episodes that we have been loving and pigging out on. Now, this example, again, I used as the thumbnail for the last Thursday show. That was the last gallery night. You wrote, all punched on monk's cloth with worsted wool and bulky wool, punched using a number 10 Oxford regular needle and number 13 Oxford fine needle. I used a gripper frame and I dye about 50% of the wool. The fox I found on Pinterest and I made up the rest. This one is, oh, I'm sorry. So this is the fox that we're looking at here because we're going to see some others that she sent as well that are just beautiful. I felt bad I didn't get to this image on gallery night. I hate it when I do that, but it is super, super charming. I feel like I've seen this. I feel like I saw the inspiration piece. I feel like it was the a woodcut for a poetry magazine. I'm trying to, I have a pretty good memory for images, you know. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I feel like it's an It's not a copy of it. It's the inspiration of. I feel like I've seen an image that is quite like this in these colors. I think it's spectacular. It is beautifully done. There's a lot of smart touches. The handling of the snow, the way it's coming down in like almost plates or levels under the fox, that circular shadow of the fox is planting him very with a lot of stability in the snow, right? It's really placing him well, right, in terms of weight in the snow. His little eyes are to die for. The cheeks have a little bit of an expression to them, like they're puffing up a little bit, right? The big ears, the proportions of this, the sweep of the tail of the brush, really, really well done. The proportions are really well done. Smart things also like the color in the sky going from that dark black midnight blue down to the grays, down to the blues, down to the whites. And then at the bottom, right, the black, you see how it dips down to accommodate that bit of ice, right? It's almost like he's on some kind of a drift or a flow. Really smart. That one star, man, that's good. That's really, really good. It's almost like symbolic, right? I mean, it's just, whether it's a star, a snowflake, it reminds me of the North Star, Polaris. Really, really smart. Judy says, I love the restraint of the palette on this one with the evergreen trees showing up as gray with the white snow and just a hint of blue in the night sky. The fox stands out so beautifully. He really does. And him being in motion like that, that sweet questioning kind of a look. It's almost like he hears a noise. He's looking directly back at you. Who's that? Oh, it's you. And he's just kind of mid step. He's not scared. He's not intimidated. He just curiously turns back, right? And then he's presumably going to go on his way. Really sweet piece. Really, really pretty piece. And then Lynn sent in she had some other pieces that I don't think that I had shown that are again going to be her 13 by 13 compositions. Really smart. She's doing punching. This one I think is the one, I think this is the right tag for this. I might be wrong. I might have to adjust. But there was only one other one that was marked, and the tag said, "This is a building in Gettysburg from my own photo." And then she wrote, "Here are a few more." And then the following don't have tags. Oh, Gail, the fox is gorgeous. I think this might be the one in Gettysburg. It certainly reminds me of the land around Gettysburg battlefield or that whole area. It certainly looks like the right kind of architecture. Don't you love the heart on the house and the deer kind of bedding down right in front of the garden with the pretty trees, the pretty flowers, the pumpkin? There's so much happening here. The countryside is reading as almost rainbows of color, warm greens, cool greens, little friendly laundry line, this plate with laundry hanging down. This place is not abandoned. It's not scary. It's loved. There's someone living in there who's working on laundry. There's a heart right on the roof. There's a beautiful sunset that probably is being witnessed from the people inside this charming house. All of this great color, sunset color in the sky that's feeding back down to the blue lupine type flowers at the bottom. Really, really beautiful. Really lovely. Lots of good matching and pulling together of colors here. You know, it is a good idea to sometimes use the colors that are in front of you, or put colors near you, so that those are the colors that you pull from. And it really forces you to use colors, similar colors or the same color in different parts of your composition, because it does tie your eye in when you are tying colors up. The blue in the sky, the blue in the flowers, the pink in the sky, the pink in the heart, right? The orange in the sky, the orange in the pumpkins, yellow, yellow, right? It all matches up really well. If you have 150 colors on your lap, it might not work so well. This could be the house in Gettysburg. Telling you, what is wrong? I don't have them in order, and that was all of the info that I had. It looks like she's using some nice Briggs and Little super yarn, though. That's good information. It is quite thick. It looks thicker than the 3-ply. It's their super. Absolutely beautiful. I think this is probably the house in Gettysburg. Um, I live. Oh, Jean says I love the hidden deer on the Gettysburg house. I love it on that house too. But I think I made a mistake. I think this is the Gettysburg house, because it says 1863. That makes sense, right? We've got those Civil War years happening here. Another beautiful piece by Lynn. Ombre sky with great directional hooking. Isn't that lovely? The way that it comes down on the house, and isn't it lovely how that great vertical thrust of the sky, right? That great blue and very nice thick yarn, very nubby and tactile. Sky is so good, right, Judy? Isn't it great how it comes down and it lands on those levels of green that are almost like clamshell, sort of lamb's tonguey, right? Like bump, ba bump, ba bump, ba bump. So good. The house looks like a good historic house. So this, I think, might be the Gettysburg house. It is another beautiful piece. Could be raining. You're right. It could be raining. It's because it looks very lush and green, as it always does when it's raining. The house is very austere. It's done beautifully, but the way that it's framed up with these levels of interest, all this green in the background, and then the sky in the directional hooking in the opposite direction, the kind of horizontal hooking at the bottom, very, very clever. Very clever. Yep. And I think we have a few more because, again, Lynn has been doing this as a series, and we haven't seen all of these. Another beautiful summary piece. Looking at her pieces back to back like this, it's giving me a sense of how she works and how she designs. Now, again, this is another piece that leans heavily on the idea of using levels or shelves of color as part of the motif, right? Driving the motif forward, we've seen in all 3 pieces levels. The first one, it was like the small garden with the deer and the fruits and veggies. And then we moved up to the grass, and then we moved to the house, and then we moved into that great sunset sky. In the last piece, ground, 1863 house, levels of greenery, sky. In this piece, ground with house, water level, water levels of water, distant water, sky. So using levels as a motif is a great composition device, right? Lots of horizontal, you're giving yourself rows like shelves to put knickknacks on. When you put up an empty shelf, you populate it with all of your treasures. Little paperweight here, little Wade statuette here, little thingies and thingamabobs here and there, and you populate the shelf until the balance looks right and it looks like full enough to your eye. Well, it's the same thing when you're designing a composition, isn't it? Just put some shelves in place. This is water, so she's got a wave pattern. In the last example, it was land. So she had kind of a tree line pattern that went ba-bump, 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 right? Just set yourself up. Very Maud Lewis in its approach, isn't it? And this does, I agree, Helene, this does look a lot like Newfoundland, that kind of a landscape. That's probably what made me say Maud Lewis, right? It looks like a Canadian landscape. So I'm curious to see if the next one has the same kind of device going. It's a great way to design. This is what Maud Lewis did in her life, right? This is how she designed. This one is working a little bit different, but we still have levels, right? This one is quite different. We do see the level in the background for the distant tree line or mountain line, and then we see the sky. She is still populating things top to bottom, but she brings more of the storyline to the front with the device of the path. Right? As soon as you put a path that leads your eye to a vanishing point, right, then we're talking about perspective and not flat levels. We have one vanishing point in this composition. I don't know how I got into a conversation about perspective and composition, but the vanishing point is at that front door that's glowing yellow, very welcoming, right? As soon as you drop a path in, your eye follows the path, just like your feet follow the path. And Gail, I loved the whale too, and Blue Bus Gypsies love the layers of colors. It's very, very smart. So if this piece didn't have the path, right, it would read more like a levels piece. As soon as you cut a level with a path, something that our eye recognizes, our eye follows, and where that ends, that is the vanishing point. It can be at the bottom, middle, top, side of a composition, but where that path or where that line ends, that is your vanishing point. And that becomes the center of the composition, even if it is not. You see what I mean? Another beautiful composition, tricky doing a night scene, but she's really pulled it off here. This really is a beautiful night composition. Another snowy scene, great example, child outside playing with the dog. The dog's very attentive, right? It's nighttime, but the child is out there getting exhausted before bed, hopefully, and the dog is there keeping a very close watch. Everything is fine. Everything is safe. It's a lovely piece, a little dusting of snow on the tree. And Helene says, I have done a Maud Lewis, loved every minute. They are such a lot of fun. I just love her pieces. Now this is complete. Now for something completely different. So this is the last one I have tonight from Lynn of Stony Hill House. This is completely different. So this is more of a pattern-driven kind of a thing. We've got one motif, and it is surrounded by a multiples composition, multiples of flowers. I love how the flowers are as big as the dog, right? Very folky approach. When we look at folk art, we say, oh, look at that. Perspective isn't a thing. Proportion isn't a thing. All of those kinds of things that our eye expects to see, all of the rules, those are bypassed when we're looking at folk art. Yes, you could have a flower that's bigger than the dog's head. Why shouldn't you, right? Super folky, super colorful, really great piece. Dog at play, right? Very, very good sort of rendering of the dog in this playful pose, just like the fox with one paw up looking over its little shoulder, looking backward, right? Lynn is very, very good at doing animals in motion, right? You get all the feel, the character, the energy of this dog kind of stretching back, ready to spring, ready for some fun. Very playful, having these like giant balloon-sized flowers in the background. Great mixture of colors. Super, super, super smart with all of these round blooms. Super smart to have at the bottom left-hand corner, the most neglected corner in any composition, in any medium, bottom left-hand corner, she's got this sprig of purple coming up in all of this vertical hit or miss. That's helping a lot because that is the forgotten corner. Our eye starts at the top, goes left to right, and then we tend to come down at the right. Very rarely does our eye bounce into the bottom left-hand corner, but that great colorful hit or miss hooking is very irregular, right? It's not round like the flowers. It's not working the same way as the flowers, right? It's not big and fat and plump. It's just up and down, right? It draws our eye to it because it's different, right? So that's just what you want with any composition. Judy, it is a super happy piece. It is super, super pretty. Linda, Linda B, you sent in this piece. This is fluffy, pumpkin fluffy. This was our October hook along. The hook along before you wrote. Here's a shot of your pumpkin fluffy hooked on linen and mated to a small pillow. Isn't that fantastic? Back from the back from it. Okay, so we're going to look at the back too as a deconstructed wool skirt. The cat velveteen fabric from a deconstructed skirt. Well, it does look very rich. So it makes sense that that's velvet or velveteen. Velveteen we usually associate just as a fabric as being like 100% cotton. You can do cotton velvet. They have like really sort of fancy velvet now that really mimics like silky velvet and rayon velvet. But usually cotton velvet is velveteen. And it has a very low pile, but it's a good steady pile. It's very, very dull matte, but gives a lot of a velvety feel, right? A very matte, fibery, soft, fuzzy kind of a feel, not a high pile. That's a beautiful material to choose for the cat. I love that you did the two different eye colors, right? Because Maud Lewis, this is a take on a Maud Lewis, right? Just like my later hook along was a take on Magdalena. I love taking classic motifs from designers we know, historic designers we know, and doing a different spin on them. So this was the design that I did for October. These designs are always available in the store any time of year, but a different kind of a spin. I love that you boxed it out for a pillow. That makes a lot of sense to me because it becomes really utilitarian. The simpleness of the nose and the lips, perfect. I like that you eliminated the whiskers. I draw the whiskers on for people who want to do whiskers, but that's information that you don't need, right? What you want is those two striking eyes staring at you. Linda, how did you get such perfect circles for the centers? That's like remarkable. Really pretty with the two different color eyes, and then you did the mixes of red. That's really, really, really good. I can't remember if you did the kit or not, but really good colors. I love the blue that's working overtime, popping all of the reds. Very, very smart. Really, really well done. Let me see what else you wrote. Deconstructed skirt. The background is wool strips, some I dyed. Okay, here's our answer. Some I dyed, others from deconstructed wool clothing. Fluffy is acrylic wool combo purple yarn. And home dyed stockings, fantastic. Okay, your eyes are buttons. There we go. I see that in the thread too. That's how they're so circular. I'm thinking, what technique is that? I have got to horn in on that. And the edging is crocheted. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Thank you for inspiring me and all of us to be open to all of the possibilities in rug making. Well, there we go. We're all hopping on the bandwagon as we should. I'm just happy to remind you of all of the choices that are out there. Really, you all are doing the work. I'm just showing you pictures. This is the back. Such a pretty piece. Your label is absolutely perfect. And the back is a deconstructed wool skirt. That's just perfect, isn't it? That's really, really, really good. I just love it. I can see that the border is crocheted here too. You did a bang up job on this piece. Really, really lovely. Thank you so much for sending that. I love to see my finished pieces done, you know. Man, I am behind again today. Betsy Lewis, you sent this beautiful image. Let's see. Hi, Deanna. I finished this rug to put in our kitchen. It is my second hooked rug after losing the sight in my dominant eye in 2021. I started it using yarn, and as I learned from your videos, I incorporated wool strips. I'm so glad, Betsy. That's fantastic. I tried doing higgledy-piggledy background, but I feel I used too many colors. They are all grays, but hard for me to distinguish them in tonal terms. I purchased a wool. Okay, I'm going to hold right there because, Betsy, I have to say it. I have to say it. I think the background is perfect. That's my favorite thing about this piece. I love the hooking of the flowers, but I have to say that background is so interesting. It really mimics some of the shapes and silhouettes that are in the flower motif, right? The ring around the edge. I absolutely love that there are very light and very dark values in the background. I think it creates amazing interest, right? It doesn't look like a rug, you know, the classic 1950s, 1960s solid rug that wasn't made by hand or was it bought in the store. It doesn't look like that, but that's why I love it so much. I love that gray background too. We don't do enough with gray in this craft. Gray is a fantastic shapeshifter of a neutral. And the colors that you're using could well be associated with kitchen colors, right? Traditional 70s kitchen colors, right? Shame on you 70s for hijacking this color palette. But the fact that you did this with all of these gray tones makes it universal. Living room, any room, right? It really takes it out of that color palette. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. I hope that you don't tear up the background. I really do. Linda says, very interesting and wonderful adapting. Brava. And my mom says, I agree. Unique and beautiful with the gray, the flowers and gray background. So well handled. Oh, Danny, I didn't realize. Oh, good to see you. I'm so sorry I didn't say hi yet. The gray background looks like a light shadow of the flowers, and that makes sense. It really does, doesn't it? You get all these jagged lines and these little circles that kind of mimic the shape of the berries. It's super, super clever. Jean also says, I love the background. It really makes you notice. It really does. It really does. If it just had a plain solid background, for me it wouldn't do much for me, the background part of it. The flowers are going to be lovely no matter what. But I think what you've done is extremely special and different. It has a bit of a historical look. It's way more artistic than just letting everything sink into the background into one color. Pamela says, I love the background, love it, love it. And the gray is so pretty. It's like shadows and leaves around the flowers. We all are in agreement, Betsy. You must not change the background. I hope you haven't. It is too good. He wrote, I purchased a wool cutter since using a ruler and a rotary cutter produced uneven strips for me and I didn't like it. I learned so much during the process. I'm getting ready to start a pumpkin rug and I just received some wool. So I'm getting the strips ready. Not sure I will be logged in for gallery night since it'll be 5 o'clock here and it's dinner time. Oh, Betsy, that's true. I'm sorry about that. Betsy, I just love this. You know what, Betsy? It sounds to me like you're a very technical worker. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great to know that you're a technical worker because you were worried about the way the background looked in terms of continuity, right? But I have to tell you, you have to remember all those great historic rugs from the 19th century, they didn't have that continuity. That's a 20th century thing. That's a thing that eclipsed 30, 40 years. Before then and after then, the majority of the time that we've spent making rugs, the background is not solid, right? That's a moment in time. If you like that moment in time the best, then you're going to be more drawn to doing pieces with a solid background. The fact that you said I got a cutter because I did not like the uneven strips, you're more technical than me. I use a cutter too, but mostly because I make stuff for kits and it has to be perfect. For myself, I tend to sit on a couch with a pair of kitchen scissors. I'm that kind of a pig. And that's just the way I work. It matches my personality, and the uneven stuff doesn't bother me. You have to work in your style because there is no right or wrong style. You have to work within your comfort zone, and you are. But make sure that you step back when you do a great piece like this flower rug. Make sure that you step back outside of your comfort zone and just say, "That's remarkably good." It's not necessarily my style, and it's not what I set out to do, but I can appreciate that that is very different and remarkably good. I'm going to keep going for a couple more minutes. Let's see. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm going to keep going. I don't want to rush through. Let's see. Now, Kelly said, I'm going to stay on for probably another 10 minutes just to let you know. Kelly Smith, right? Kelly Smith is a rug designer. You can look her up on her on her website, Kelly Smith Designs. She does a lot of beautiful work. I love seeing her stuff on our Facebook page, which is Rug Cooking and Punch Needle Club. I love seeing her designs. She always posts on Madcap Monday, which is fantastic because she makes some exquisite designs. She is a great celebrator of holidays. She does a lot of beautiful sacred designs as well. This is not one. This is a more playful one. Very iconic for me. The swirls in the sky, that is Kelly Smith. This is absolutely stunning. White snow, purple shadows, that is Kelly Smith. The shadows on the figures, a little bit of round caricatures of figures, but not cartoony. That's her, right? The way the snowflakes are, this is all her. She is so good. It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm so jealous, but I love her too much to be jealous. But her work is so good. Make sure you check out Kelly Smith Designs. This is one of the beautiful seasonal pieces that she has. Here's another one. This is called Baby King. So this is a great sort of religious subject. Very, very well done. The Holy Family looking toward us with all the animals. Absolutely beautiful. Again, look at the way she handles the shadows on the figures, the shadows on the clouds, the stars in the sky, right? She does everything very sort of round, plumped, comfortable. But it's not cartoony. I have to say I'm not a big fan of cartoony stuff. Her stuff just hits me just right. Sweet spot. Look at that beautiful glow, the halo off of the child. Absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous seasonal piece. I love that the human figures have kind of an anonymous face, and the animal figures a little less mysterious, right? They have a few subjects. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, the donkey is looking at baby Jesus. That is absolutely beautiful. Whether you are religious or not, just the idea of a child being born and bringing hope and light into the world, that is universal. That part is universal. Everything else aside, that story is universal. You've had children being born around you. It is special every time. Obviously, this is a depiction of the Holy Family. This is just right for this time of year. Again, Kelly Smith, Kelli, not Y. Make sure you check out her stuff. Shani Rashid, you sent in your first piece. I want to say, because I think, and unless the show has been too long, you might still be there. Thank you so much. And I am so happy that you sent your first piece in. Huge welcome. You did a beautiful, beautiful piece. Let me show you. I just wanted to show you my face while I said welcome, because I was so pleased that you submitted this. You wrote, "Hi, Deanna. I'm just finishing up my very first project. I originally designed it as an oval," and I should have put that in the show too, because it was the same pattern but as an oval. It was the same picture. But you decided to hook the round one first. So you might hook the second one just as an experiment. And Shani, I have to ask, if you hook the second one as an oval, are you going to do it in different colors just to mix it up and see? I'm not saying that you should. I'm just wondering, because if you're going to hook it again in a different shape, I'm just wondering. This is such a strong motif. I can see wanting to hook this multiple times. You wrote, as you can tell, and I'm going to show you the hooked version in just a second. As you can tell, I went with a different direction for the sky. So let's look at these. And Shani, you also wrote, "P.S. I joined Raw Cooking Magazine Book Club, and I'm anxiously awaiting your book." Well, you know what? I am as well. I'm really hoping that they send me the proof of it before they print it. I'd love to see that, but it's going to be a beautiful, I mean, it's a lot of great chapters, and I'm looking forward to putting together number 2 and getting that out there too. Mark Allison, who's the editor of Raw Cooking Magazine, seems very happy with it, and that makes me very, very pleased, because I signed up for that book with the last editor, right, Deborah Smith, and then he came in, and then he has this book on his desk that's really, really different, because it's about designing like artists. I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you so much. I'm glad you joined the book club. It's filled with beautiful books. Okay, so let's look. You said, yes, my plan was to hook the oval in a different colorway. So this is the design, Shani, that you did, and this is absolutely striking. Are you ready for the finished piece, everyone? Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. So I'm going to do what I do, and I'm going to move this over a little bit here so that I want to show you both at the same time. Just so we can do some, because you mentioned, yes, I changed the sky. Yes, you changed the sky, but you know what? This is incredible. This is incredible. I'm so glad that you got involved with this. I'm so glad that you did this piece. You are so creative that you are really, really remarkable. I can't wait to see what you do. I can't wait to see where you go with things. This design that you did in the sky, like right, this sort of embroidery, this mixed technique, is so creative. I've never seen this before. You did a beautiful Prati flower. All of your hooking is absolutely gorgeous. It's all gorgeous. But come on, the showstopper is the sky. I mean, it's all beautiful. This is remarkable. It looks like you laid down wool strips in gullies, right? Because it looks like you did some punching or hooking in white. And then you left some spots maybe open, laid the strip down flat into the gully, and then it looks like you did an embroidery, unless you punched. You could have punched this too and punched over, down, up, down in a V configuration. It's also possible to do this with a punch. My good buddy Rebecca Martin of Storyteller Wool certainly talks about this in her new book, this kind of technique, but I didn't see this exact thing. I think this is extraordinary. I think this is a brainstorm. I think you're a genius. I love your colors. I love the subject. It is like a super peaceful composition. It is absolutely beautiful. I love this piece. And I can see you doing as an oval. I'd be so curious to see a different color palette. I love this one. I just can't wait to see what you do next. Shani, you said, yes, I laid down the wool strips and I punched over them. Okay, fantastic. That is a thing lately, is using the punch, right, to do this sort of decorative stuff. Brings us back a little bit to the conversation about Karen Garby's piece, right? Doing different kinds of techniques. Think outside the box, right? Think about putting your hook down or your punch and think about what other things you could put in your hand, whether you're alternating between hook, punch, needle, right? There's all kinds of things you could do to your surface, right? It can be all loops, but it doesn't have to be all loops. Shani, this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. I hope that you will continue submitting pieces because it's extraordinary, beautifully done. Massive congratulations. Welcome to the fold. I think you are a genius, and I can't wait to see more of your future pieces. I am getting to the end, I promise you, because we are running over. My buddy Ann sent in another great piece, and there she is. You are so good. Finished my first chair pad, glub. You called this glub. That is just like you, isn't it? That is too funny. Made quillies for the bubbles, inspired by your side talk with Rebecca Martin about her new book. Yep. Do you remember that when I interviewed Rebecca, we did our first and so far only two-person show one Friday night, not that long ago. And we were talking about her chapter, Storyteller Wool, Rebecca Martin. We were talking about her chapter on quilly and standing wool. And Anne, you thought, oh, this would be a good idea for the background. Well, it is a great idea for background. Let me show the quilly close up. Beautiful fish, by the way, right? This is a great design. It looks like that what's that classic Irish design with the three sides to it? I know it probably begins with the letters TRI, but I'm not going to be able to think of it. I bet somebody else is going to be able to think about it. And this is so pretty, and I think the quillies set in the way they are could not be any smarter or better than that. I love the filigree feel of the little doodlers coming off of the fish, whatever those things are called. It's like a fin, right? But I just love the fineness, right, of the and the flow, the motion of those strips coming down. I also love the color change of the yellows and the warm colors within that teal of the fish's bodies. You've got super colorful fish, but you've got three of them. So let me back up one slide, but we've got a really strong design because they are super colorful, but it's still very cohesive because all the color placement lands in the same spot. Yes, they're in different directions, but our eye accepts that, doesn't it? All of that great movement off of the fish. Yes, Judy, Triskelion. I don't know if I'm saying that the right way. That is absolutely the word. It's such a wacky word. I don't know if I'm ever going to remember that word. Triskelion. I have to root it in there. My mom says, oh, Anne, that piece is gorgeous with the fish and the quillies. Colors are stunning. Gorgeous fish colors, Triskelion. You all are so good. I absolutely love the piece. Love the quillies. I have to do a video on quillies this week. For those of you that haven't tried it yet, what a great thing. And I'm guessing Anne is doing the quillies, which are the circles, right? Round, 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 sewing them onto the backing fabric and then hooking around it, right? You could hook around it first and then place them, but then you might have to shore up around the edge to make sure that there's no gaposis and no holidays. Veronica loves the fish design as well. So pretty. And you even finished your piece off in the back with very thorough marking, right? Glub. Designed and hooked by Ann Polizzo. Spot dyed and textured wools, size number 4 to number 6 cut strips, quillies for bubbles, whipped edge with a color called Princess Bride from Storyteller Wool. And you did this month, November 2023. And you are another one who works so fast. It is amazing. This is another out of the park hit for you. Really, really beautiful piece. I love it. I love it. You are a fast worker, man. You really are. Now, this is a very, Ann says I sewed them on there. Sewed them on, then hooked them up. I always have that heart in front of it. So you sewed them on and then hooked it up, because then you really know, right, that you're going to be hooking right up to the edge of the quillies, and your loop sets around the the quillies are really holding them in place as well. The stitching is holding them in place, right? But right up to the edge, it's nice and compact and great part of the design. Yeah, absolutely love it. Lots of people love it. Now, this is a really different project, too, by Catherine Perez. Catherine, this is so pretty. You wrote, hello, Deanna. My name is Catherine, and my handle is Cat's Gallery. There we go. There we go. I know that we've talked before. I know I knew. And I always say, hey, Cat's Gallery. Catherine, I didn't dare say the wrong thing because sometimes that happens. Thank you so much. Your handle is Cat's Gallery. This is my very first rug hooking project. I saw the pattern on your channel from Beechnut. I remember this episode from Beechnut Studios on Etsy. I tweaked it quite a bit, and I had a label made to acknowledge Beechnut. Oh, sorry for the That's okay. We know that it's Beechnut. And Colleen is such a sweetheart, right? She would never hold that against you. I want to give a shout out to Sharon from North County Wool Gatherers in Fallbrook, because she made the label. Now I'm going to show you the label in the last slide on the tortoise's underbelly. I really used a pig's breakfast of techniques. Yes! I tried to felt a winter scene without knowing how to do it. I attempted a Now, hang on a second. I'm going to switch slides for a second because this is like an in progress slide. Let me do this one first. There we go. I tried to felt a winter scene without knowing how to do it. I attempted a snowflake for the tortoise shell top. Well, that definitely reads as a snowflake. That definitely reads as a snowflake. I'm just looking up at it and seeing many, many techniques here. And I did the edge of the shell using Prati. That's the one that really stands out. That is really smart, right around the edge of the shell where it's a bit ruffly and it's thicker, ridged with lots of patterning. Isn't Prati absolutely a brilliant way to handle that part of the tortoise shell? That is super, super smart. And then sewed on snowflake buttons into the Prati. Yes. Oh God, that looks so pretty. That looks so pretty. The tortoise nails are from acrylic nails. Ooh, I'm going to show you a close-up of that. And I blinged around them. That is clever. That is really smart. I have that's the first time I've heard of using acrylic nails like in rug cooking. You're using acrylic nails for nails. That makes perfect sense. The underbelly is also wool given to me by Kitty. Another shout out. I used coat hangers to stabilize the legs. We're going to look at different views as shown in the pattern. And I also hooked around the snowflake with wool worms, higgledy-piggledy, my favorite, and under the front paws. The snowflakes were made with a glue gun and other things. The leaves under the back legs are real, and I glued them together. Oh, you're kidding. How fun is that? So it's like the turtle is moving from fall into winter, isn't it? The eyes came from Timu. Oh God, I love Timu because wool does not like acrylic paint. No, it definitely doesn't. Voila, it's a winter wool tortoise. Oh, here we go. I call it fall into winter because the hind legs are on fall leaves and the front are on snowflakes. I made it for Christmas for my daughter Micah because she has a tortoise named Turtle and the surname is Larson. I got her the tortoise when it was a hatchling and it is now about 30 years old. I cannot wait to see the expression on her face when she opens her turtle present. And then Catherine writes, please tell Joss that all tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. I'm going to need another drink to get my head around that. Okay, not all tortoises, okay, so a tortoise is a kind of a turtle. So the broader category is turtle. So the umbrella term is like turtle. And no, the umbrella term is tortoise, and some tortoises are turtles. I'm going to talk about Joss with that tonight. And I bet you anything it is going to lead into a black hole, Bermuda Triangle of looking at turtle tortoise videos. I bet you anything because we sit in the evening when we should be sleeping really and look at animal videos of all these different animals. It's so much fun going down these crazy rabbit holes, or in this case, turtle holes. Linda says the story of this piece is interesting and this piece is amazing. Yeah, I will definitely tell Joss that. Also, I wanted to thank Ribbon Candy Hooking for making me a hooker and finding Atha and then my local chapter. I honestly thought no one hooked in my area. Merry Christmas to you all, and sending love to Teddy and Jocelyn and your family. Well, right back to you, Catherine. Thank you so much. Let's look at this piece in more detail. This is extraordinary. So there's a few things that Catherine didn't mention. I love the story of this piece. I love that it's going to Micah, that they have this 30-year-old tortoise. I mean, this is just amazing. This is a great idea for a present. I love the snowflake on the back. And did you notice ironically and coincidentally, that she wrapped around in a circle that high luster white rope? Doesn't it remind you of that white cording that we saw on Karen Garby's gingerbread house pattern from Encompassing Designs? Doesn't it remind you? That is so smart and so great to use. It really frames out the white part on top, right? Reminds you of snow, brackets off that season, that part, that conversation, the winter part. And then it moves into the greens and the oranges, like more fall colors. And there is a lot of hooking here. And Catherine, I can see that you did clipping. You clipped the instead of leaving your loops as wool, your wool as loops. Not all loops are, sorry, I was going to make a joke that I don't have the intelligence to make, but you pulled up loops and you cut them. So the Brits call this clippy. This is just cut loops. It's the same exact technique. just not loops, clipped on top, different finish. Absolutely beautiful, leading down to the Prati. We know there's a coat hanger in there supporting it. Now let's look at the different parts of it so we can appreciate it a little bit more. This looks like it in the works. We can see here the coat hanger elements to it, right? We can see all the parts coming together. Yep, this is all making sense. You can see the head is about to go on. The tail is attached. Do you see the little nails, the little acrylic nails here poking through? That is super, super smart. You know, you're handling a lot of the parts of the turtle in a very literal way. That makes a lot of sense because you do want it to look like a turtle, right? It's supposed to look like a turtle. It's a gift. It's supposed to represent the turtle that you've had, the tortoise you've had that's called Turtle, right? The tortoise is called Turtle. And I have to say, for those of you that don't know Temu, Temu is T-E or Temu, T-E-M-U. It is a website like Amazon, but it's based in China. And really, like, I'm not giving a plug for one or the other because I shop on both, but really, a lot of the things that you buy on Amazon are from Temu. And you can get a lot of great craft supplies right from the source where they're made and bypass the middleman and save about 90% on so many different things. You should check it out. It's remarkable how many craft supplies they have on there. I buy a lot of my clothing. Whenever you see me wearing, it's not tonight, but my crazy earrings, 90% of them are from Temu. I love shopping it. Josh shops on it all the time too. We have a lot of fun with it. You don't have to spend a fortune to have some nice things and to be able to assemble. I order there a lot. You do too, Dawn. It makes a lot of sense, you know, because you see the same stuff in stores and all that. Turtle Larson, Beechnut Studios, Catherine Perez, 2023. Catherine, you have to tell us how Michael, I'm sorry, I'm reading forward, how Micah likes this present. Because maybe you can take a picture of the gift and all that if you feel like it. I love it when these things are realized and people get their gifts and then there's all of that. I'm going to picture it, and I know it's going to be wonderful. You are going to be so proud to give that as a gift because thank you so much. It is so beautiful. It's a really big project too. You had a really big idea there going between the seasons, right? Walking between the fall into the winter. I mean, it was really a big idea besides being a project that was going to involve a lot of problem solving with the nails, with the Prati, with the shell, with the underbelly, figuring out the coat hanger, right? It's not for everybody, but you knew that it was going to make the perfect gift, right? So you embarked on it. You got it done in time. Congrats. I hope that Michael loves it. I know she will. And I'm going to end the episode. I'm just going to show you what I'm working on. It's not nearly as interesting as what you all are working on. I transferred as a mini punch project this little design that I did. It's tiny. It's for miniature punch, Russian punch. And I've got this on my backing fabric here. It's for the Jane Austen month. It's not available yet, but it's all of her shoes. I think it's going to be called Jane Austen slippers. All of these sort of Regency Georgian style shoes. Of course, we're talking about Jane Austen a lot this month. Georgian refers to King George, right? Like the madness of King George, that King George. And Regency refers to the Prince Regent, right, who took the throne for a while. So those two eras are very, very close together and fairly short sort of epochs in the British timeline. But this is a Jane Austen pattern, and you will see this evolve. But this is what I'm working on right now. I don't have a lot of free time. This is my color palette, and I will add to it. This photo doesn't do it justice at all. But I've got lots of kind of royal, regal type purples, really bright purples, lots of beige, grays, tans, pinks, raspberry, sagey green. I'm going to start with this palette and then I will probably evolve it into add some popping blues and other colors in there too. And I just wanted to let you know before I go, a couple of things on ribbon candy hooking. Design like Mucha. Make sure you're signed up for that. That's coming up, not quite yet, but it's coming up soon. Everybody loves Mucha, right? The artist Alphonse Mucha, great Art Nouveau style. It's going to be a great class, lots of fun, great designing opportunities there. And I finally dyed the 2 sets of Crazy Eights, the Jane Austen sets. So this is what they look like. This is 2 different sets. Yep, they are very Helene. They are, oh, thank you. You know, Judy, I have to stock the thread stand because my friend Robin and her husband Mark make all of the frames that we stock. And she also makes that stand. And I've been a real jerk and very slow getting that stand into the store. Jay, we got to get the stand into the store. Um, Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to have. This is the two sets of Crazy Eights. These are two separate sets. The one on the left is called Jane at the Ball. It's very distinctly different colors. The top one is like a beige, the second one is a gray, some seafoamy greens going into a turquoise, purple, reddish purple, and then finally like a wood rose pink. And on the right, so lots of nice sort of soft colors that will take you from winter into spring, and many of those colors can go together, right, to do hit or miss backgrounds and things like this. You want to show? Yeah, bring them over here. Let's show them. And the set on the right is called Jane at Home. So Jane at the Ball and Jane at Home. Jane at Home, I'm trying to use like a Wedgwood blue, rust, brick, butterscotch, a camel color, a dusty rose color, a dusty mauve, and a sangria. So those are the colors that are out there. Let me just show you. Jay was kind enough to bring in the frames that Robin, and I will stock the other thing, I promise, that Robin and Mark make. They make them right here in Connecticut. This is a great frame. This is the lap frame that I sell. It tips all the way back. It's got this thing here so it can turn like a lazy Susan in this all the way around in this direction. And of course, I don't want to hurt myself on camera, but it goes like this and all the way around like a lazy Susan right on your lap. Super great frame. And then he makes these small lap frames for punchers. People like me, I have my mini punch on a piece about this size with all of the combs, but it's also on a stand, right? So you can have it on your lap. And then for people who do mostly punch or who lean up against a table, we have these comb frames in just about every size, right? Lots of sizes. How many sizes do we have? Like 5 sizes or
Four
something?
sizes.
4 sizes. But
10,
really graduated. 10,
12,
8, 12.
14,
This is the 8. 14.
10.
Oh, this is the 10. So starting at 10. Do we do one smaller than a 10?
Well, we could.
We could. Well, but anyway, yeah. So we'll put the stand into the thing too. Now, Betsy, thank you so much.
Yes.
Betsy wrote, "Thank you so much. I'm so happy. I go into surgery on Tuesday. You were in surgery on Tuesday, so you're still recovering. But there is optic nerve damage. So I don't know when I will be able to craft again. I hope it's soon. I don't enjoy sitting all day. Betsy, keep us updated on that. All right, keep us updated because we're going to be thinking about you. It's you're doing so well. You just got in there, made that beautiful rug, did that crazy gray center that we all fell in love with. I hope you can get back to it sooner rather than later. I bet you will, but make sure that you keep us updated, okay? Even if you're just tuning in and you have to give it a break for a little while, just keep us updated so we know how things are going, okay? Judy says, good luck, Betsy. So maybe you are going into surgery on Tuesday. I hope you're back soon to crafting. Me too. Love Jane at home, Melissa. I love them both. I hardly ever have time to work with my own supplies, I have to admit. Always working on the next project, but I might actually keep some of that set because I loved it that much. Pam says, beautiful fabric color reminds me of macarons. Absolutely, the French pastries, right? Best wishes, Betsy. We're all wishing the best for you. We already saw Andrea off right in England. I think she's well asleep now, maybe getting ready for her trip. Lots going on in our group. Please, everybody, keep us updated on what's happening with you. Sending lots of love to everybody. It's not like I'm done with you before Christmas. I will be back with you. I'll let you know what my schedule looks like this week, but be sure that coming up to Christmas, there will be a lot of Christmas shows. Depending on how Christmas falls, I'll see if we're doing one the day of. We'll do one either the day of, the day before, the day after, something that's right there. For those of you, who want to log on, maybe you're not visiting with other people on the day, maybe you don't celebrate Christmas, you'd like something to do, maybe like we were saying earlier in the episode, this is not your best season of the year. Christmas is very hard for a lot of people. It becomes harder and harder, I think, as we get older, for me too. Thinking about the people who are not with us anymore gets harder and heavier every year. I want to be on as often as I can with inspiration, great ideas, brainstorming together. So we will be together many times this week. Just look out for the schedule in case I'm able to do some of Teddy's great New York City stuff. And then I'll tell you if I won't be around for an episode. Look on our Facebook group, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club, and also make sure you're subscribed to the Ribbon Candy Hooking YouTube channel, because whenever I put out a new Jane Austen story or tell you something's happening, like I am going to run the show at 7, I'll always make an announcement there so that I don't surprise you. I figured out how to do it, so now I do it, right? Happy weekend, everybody, in the meantime. Have a great weekend. Get your stuff done. I hope Teddy feels better too, and I hope I go home and those two red sort of stripes that are like this that look permanent are gone. I hope he looks like a soft little pale powder puff in his bed, tucked up, fever gone, comfortable, right? It would be really good because his buddies are coming over tomorrow. He was already looking better. I hope that we are on the upswing. I'm going to try to shuffle him up to bed early, shuffle him off to Buffalo, tuck him in, all done. We'll see how it goes. Maggie, have a great night. You want both? You want both sets? Do you want me to add those for you? I can add those for you for sure. I'll set them right aside because they're ready to blow. Um, yeah. Thank you so much for your good wishes, everybody. Happy weekend. I will see you soon. Look out for update on the next show. Have a great weekend and sending my love back. Okay, I got you, Maggie. I've got you. They're going to be for you. I'm setting two aside. Don't even think about it. They're perfectly in stock for everybody. But Maggie, your two are ready to go. I hope so too, Mom. We'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. Happy weekend, everybody. And